so nice, man. And the green. Look how bright the green is. I love this shit, man. The fucking white people killed all the deer. Every time I pass by this, I think that's an animal. Like, I'll forget that that's just like a boot or something on the ground, and I'll think it's a raccoon. And then as I'm driving, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go put the raccoon in the woods. It can't just be there. It can't just be out there. Hey, look, a farmer. You think they'll hire me to do hay? They haven't yet. I tried to get that farmer to hire me, he wouldn't. Because they can't afford to hire anybody. There's just nothing out here, man. Unless you're wealthy. And the wealthy people, they're not haying. Like, look. Like, that's a decent house. But there's like 3 people that live in that camper. That house actually is kind of not put together very well. I already showed the view, but I was saying, can you think of a better bathroom? And look, I didn't know these guys, and I don't think they do sell campers. Like, this isn't a business or anything. I don't know what this is, but they have golf carts and they've got a shit ton of different campers up there. And then, yeah, there's 100 roads named after this road, but I'm still not going to show you the road name. Look at this old car. I think that was an old Corvette. That's nice. Do you think that person mows their own lawn or nah? You think that person's wealthy enough? Nah, because they got like an arbor and shit. That's not. If the arbor looks like it's a decade old, they're mowing their own lawn. The rich people can't have shit that looks old for some reason, even though they never come here. And then they got it. There's a stream over here. I love this place, but the energy is just off in the people and everything. That's a wealthy person. They said these people are called the Dragons. And I said, you mean like the clan? And they said, no, their last name is literally Dragon. And that's why they do the dragging of the trucks to make the burnouts, because their last name is Dragon. So they have to be dragging around. Because that's what you do when you grow up here in the 90s, I guess. Oh, fucking red truck. He's also a veteran. Apparently this community is pretty much all ex-military. Like, this entire town is all... The only way you can afford to live here is if you get the military stipend and then you get the monthly checks for being a veteran. So a lot of people retire here. So I'm going to show you. This is what I saw in the dream. When I had the dream that I was on a porch, I was live streaming, and I quit live streaming because they were all negative, retarded losers. And then I went out on a porch to play guitar. That's exactly what I was on in the dream. So I went up the road and found that there's somebody that sells those exact prefab tiny sheds, and they can pass permanent inspection because you just cover it. Like, that wouldn't, you'd have to get a permit for that place because it's a double wide. But with those large sheds, you don't need a permit, and they literally said, because I went and talked to them today, they said, yeah, you don't need permits, and They're easy to move because you just put them on cinder blocks. And the way they said cinder blocks, it looked at me, I was like, I don't like that. How do you know that I spent the past 30 minutes hauling cinder blocks around the property? Thinking about putting a shed on cinder blocks. Anyway. Someone's emoting in my comment section. I just fucked on your bitch when I emoted highest on the off. I've been known since I was chosen, since the moment that I woke up. My eyes opened. Now I'm fucking on somebody's phone and somebody's phone. I made it so euphoric she met the Lord. I got people begging me to do porn. If I did, I'd charge $1 million for it. I ain't lying. I'm a giant Irish lion diagnosed with oppositional defiance. One day y'all gonna see me on the Forbes. Everything I'm embedded in your minds like vinyl. Everything I spit is final. Bottom line, like I wrote my signature. There's a cows, yaks and yak alike. Yapping around yaks. That's a nice house. Bambi's Clover. What up? I was just talking about Ireland. I was just talking about being Irish. There's a bunch of Freemasons that make giant monuments that look like penises because they think that even in death they can subconsciously rape your mind. That's literally why they build obelisks. Isn't that weird? See, look at that nice fucking... This is rich people territory. This is where the wealthy people live, which is why I have 4 bars of service. Even though my property is not very far from here, but it's just outside of the rich people neighborhood, and then suddenly I get no service. So they literally made it so only the wealthy people have service out here. Like the service cuts off. Look at this view. I came up here to show you my bathroom. This is what I see when I shit every day. This is my bathroom, everybody. This is where I come to poop. And then when I'm done pooping, I put flower seeds around where I dump the poop, so flowers grow on the compost. Look at this shit. This is where I tried to shoot myself. This was the last thing I wanted to see before I shot myself, and then I decided to go to a hospital instead. But yeah, I poop in there. It's like 4 minutes. It's just a 4-minute drive. If I have to poop, I drive up here and poop. Thank you, man. I went for 12 years, but I've tried to kill myself a dozen times. I'll get Wi-Fi and get eventually opportunities in life and devote my life to building public showers and traveling and working. Like I want to go to a horse ranch in Montana. I want to learn how to ride horses. I was hoping that I would just be able to make peace with my exes and then see them again now that things are different. Sort of get closure and leave it positive. Show how much I've grown. Because back then I was like an orphan, feral animal, ridiculously intelligent, like where I was at when I was 17. How funny I was. I'm still kind of funny, but I was a lot better back then. I wish I could get back to that. But now I'm realer. Like I've been through so much that I really am proud of. I don't know, people that don't go through shit in their life need to hate on other people to cope. With me, it's like, and I'm able to do like 3 things that day. I'm so proud of myself. And every day that I wake up and the crows aren't there, happiness is on like 1,000%. I'm just so grateful to be able to enjoy the moment because of how much shit I've been through. Today the universe told me, go buy a vape, go buy a vape, go buy a vape, go buy a vape. And I was like, are you sure you really want me to buy? And then there's a bird right to left right now. And I didn't even ask. And then it swooped right in front of the car. I asked for right to left birds. Are you sure you want me to go buy a vape? Then I went to go buy a vape and the store was closed early because somebody quit or something. So then I'm driving down and I'm like, I think they used to sell vapes at this store. And then they're having a deal where it's buy one, get one free. And it's ridiculous. It's usually $60 for a 50,000 puff geek bar. So for 60, I was able to get 2. Next week, it's just a ridiculously good deal right now. You don't get shit like that out here. So I see why. Because it was, they accidentally overstocked or something and they had to get rid of it. I don't really know for sure. What up, Linda? This silo doesn't have a top. Wait, Linda, if you didn't join, I was showing people my bathroom view where I go shit. Because I was making a map of the hole and they corrected me and stop it. And I was like, that's such a nice view. Now it's like every road I go down is a way better view. Up here, but I drive up here anyway. Like we're gonna do like a golf course or something. I think you can see like I think that's a stuff right there. Suburban homes, private graveyard, and like that's just people. Yeah, just. Because it's next to the golf course. Have anybody live near the golf course? But you're really gonna blow up with your songs? Yeah. You're really gonna blow up with your songs? Yeah. I'm like, I appreciate it though. If I'm reputation dog, I got money. So I'm in between villages. I feel so far from. Yeah. Every time I try to turn the camera to show you the view, a bird goes in front of my car, left to right. Nature does not want people knowing where I live. Maybe I can show you this. Last year I said that the only thing that would make where I live better was if there was more water. And then I said most likely next year I'm going to be by bodies of water. And then I wound up by bodies of water. And then we live in like it's kind of like a gated community. And the entryway to the gate, I can't show you, but the entryway to the gated community has a state trooper's car. had a big breakthrough where I was more conscious last night. Could be that I quit. Oh, for some reason, isn't that weird? It just randomly mutes itself and I'm not paying attention so that people don't watch. It's too fucking hot, man. I don't know what to do. What the fuck am I gonna do now, man? I gotta figure out a way to keep this up. Right now, I just lift it over here and then I clip it with a capo. I'm gonna have to figure out what to build because it extends out pretty far. I just have bits and pieces of the frame. Somehow I'm gonna have to Right now, I can get in like this. When they paved over the bodies and democratized the stones, I will leave a Yelp review. In the valley of the bones, when the thirsty had their blood and all the people's souls departed, they can raise a holy, swollen, golden temple of the arches. And if it looks a bit familiar, like it did the other time, they say that history don't repeat itself, no. Mm, history just rhymes. It's a turkey. There's a turkey down there. Miley Cyrus's butt at the VMAs in 2013 looked like an uncooked chicken. Something's right there. It's coming up to say hi. I don't know what it is. It's moving slow. I have too much shit. Look at this. I stopped the leaks by putting this huge ass tarp over the whole thing. And now I gotta figure out, maybe it's a blessing the arbor fell apart. Maybe I could use the arbor as a, like I could take the 2x4s and put angle so that it has support. And then I could attach both sides of the arbor as corners. Move the gazebo out to there. Move the gazebo and the deck out to there. Then I just have the two arbors on either side with the umbrella in the middle. I think that's probably what I'll do. I'd like it ideally to take these 2x4s and screw it into the frame there so that it looks like a half triangle. Then the other half of the triangle goes down to the middle here. Looks nice, like an overhang. Maybe even put that. I know there is unused at the bottom of the mountain. There was the rafters for a big structure that have just been left for several winters. I could tell him that I'd like to build it out as a frame that we put on wheels, and then it's up here for now, but eventually we can just roll it anywhere onto the property later. Instead of just sitting down there rotting, I could put this Shelter Logic over it and then put it over the camper so that the camper lasts longer. But that's for a later date. Is it a good thing I bought the vape? You hear it? Asking the universe. And then the bird on my right side starts speaking in code. Completely different chirp than what they're supposed to do. And it just starts computing on my right side. So, I don't know why, but I asked it for like, I kept seeing the image of a vape in my head, and then I kept go, 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 go. It's like, are you sure? And then they all went off. So then I went, and then the place I go to get vapes closed. So then I went to the next place, and then the next place had a deal with something that's twice the size of what I usually get for half the price of what I usually get. So I got a really, really rare good deal because they accidentally overstocked. So they were just helping out the people. So I was literally called to go there, and then somebody called out of work, which brought me to the place that only had the deal today. So I don't know. I also got this pressure treated wood, and I think I did a pretty good job. Like, this looks nice. The bottom is made out of the same. It's made out of deck board. And then that was one, and then people gave me these 4 boards. So I built stairs with them. Like, that looks nice. And I worked on this arbor. Where's all the haters at, man? Nope. The universe just told me to set up my bench press. But it's heavy as fuck. I saw a gray go, not now, and then it knocked my phone over. But later. That's my next. Oh. That wasn't it was somebody's voice probably watching this, said you should get an apartment. How? This is what I'm working on now. That awning doesn't come out because it doesn't have electricity. So I think I'm going to take these arbor walls and I'm going to give it some support on the bottom so that it stays upright. And then I'm going to have it out here so that it hangs over. And then I'm going to go up and lay some board over the top here, so instead of it just being held on to this, it's actually on there pretty good. And then hopefully tomorrow it won't be as hot. It's supposed to rain here, but it's going to be, they said that the rest of the state's going to be about 106 degrees. But we get rain, so it won't be completely 106, but it's still going to be ridiculously hot out. But if it does rain and the rain is cool, then I'll take that time to make sure that it doesn't leak. And then I can be under the tarp with my supplies. And then I'll spend the rest of the dono money on laundry and gas. I got a computer now. I spent the dono money on a computer. And then a vape, because there was a deal on it. These are usually worth, here they're usually worth 60. And I got 2 for 60. For a 1-day only deal. So I guess I didn't want a vape, but I just kept seeing it, and then the birds told me. Even now I asked again, and then the same bird chirped on my right side. So something good is supposed to come from it, I guess. I'm just gonna leave the shed like that. Oh, I got too much shit. What do I do? Why did that get knocked over? Oh, fuck. Somebody was looking at the back of my car. Did it dent? Not any more than it already is. People stare at this all the time. I'm like, it's just a dent, man. I think somebody kicked it because I didn't see anyone back into me. And this was from somebody backing into me. I didn't do this. And then at some point somebody did this. And I don't know what those scratches are, but it looks like somebody yeah. It's tough. I don't know why they do it. What up, Ryan? I'm chilling, man. I had a huge leak in my camper, so I got a tarp. And it covers the whole top so it doesn't leak inside, but now it's got this huge overhang and I have to climb a ladder every time I want to lift it back up. So I'm going to leave it out like this. I weed whacked all this. I got some more paving stone in your camera. That better? Eventually this is going to go across the whole thing. Oh, I can show you what I got. I got these for free today. Living the dream, brother. Eventually, if I can make it look nice and put a patio out there and then do all my laundry and get the mold out, then I can have girls come here and then I'm living the dream. Once all the girls that liked me when I was 18, now that I'm not wandering around with a brain injury, I posted something just to test the waters, and all of my exes were what that you can see who views your story, and even though we're not friends. So maybe I'll invite them all back and have a polycule or something. That'd be cool. But can anyone tell me if these crows don't like polycules? This is all ceramic. Does anybody know if I can have these out in the rain or if they get ruined? Because I got a shit ton of these ceramic stone things for the patio. But I don't know if they could be outside, and then I'm gonna have to find something to put it on so that if it's just on dirt, when I walk on it, all your exes is the same party. Just the cool ones. The cool ones think the other ones are hot, so. Somebody told me once I'm God's gift to bisexual women. So, I don't know, I just haven't found anybody cooler and smarter that doesn't seem like a massive piece of shit. So I'm like, I already love the piece of shit that I knew. Why invest in another piece of shit and try to make it work? Let's just bring the old piece of shit back. But they kind of left me to die, so Robbie will help you. I don't think he's capable of helping anybody, man. I heard he helps a lot of children and families, though. It was so funny, dude. Eventually, I'm gonna have to move this gazebo because of your beautiful hair. Yeah, thank you. I have to build supports, and then I have to. All the wasps are mad that I kicked them out of their house. They're flying around me, and they're watching me. Get away from me! For talk shit about anyone who donates. I know. I don't even know if I'm muted still. I think he might have blocked me. Because when he was talking shit about Mexican people, I went off about white people, and he was like, respectfully, shut the fuck up, Casey. And then I was like, hey, if you were in South America, you think you'd be hungry right now? And he's like, I would not. I know I wouldn't be hungry if I was in South America right now. And a friend, is what he said. And I was like, yeah, you hate white people. Stop defending white people. White people made you homeless, Robbie. The birds infect me with their vibes and I become like a kaiju monster. Hey. He hates himself. Yeah, it's a lot to unpack. It's just really cool to see. I liked watching it because of the very thin line between the people who talk shit about him and the people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see people talking so much shit. What I'm assuming, I could break out my handy dandy whiteboard for this. On this side is the people that comment, hate, and troll on e-beggars. And then here's the e-beggars. The e-beggar is performing, usually in a state of desperation. Sometimes it's laziness. It changes every hour. They usually have like some PTSD in most cases. They also probably are pieces of shit. I found that the same stuff about them is exactly the same as the people that talk shit. I see kind of mentally where they're both at. They seem to be almost exactly the same. But the e-beggars never really have to prove that they're better than the people that talk shit. The people that talk shit seem to be always trying to prove they're better. And what I just want them to realize that no, they're both doing the same exact thing. Like the trolls think that the e-beggar is trolling them and that he's lying about a situation, he's lazy, he's doing nothing. So it's just an endless cycle of people doing the same shit. But only one side needs to prove how much better they are than the other. And I'm like, just accept that you're not really much different than each other, especially with what you choose to do with your life. This is because I have a Wreck-It 2024, whatever. I was given this old camper, and I'm allowed to change the locks, and I'm allowed to stay on this mountaintop pretty much indefinitely. So I don't have enough to fix the shit up there. There's a lot of leaks. So I got this Shelter Logic tarp, and I just drove over because we have a thunderstorm tonight. And then I'm gonna have to take these and build supports. I disassembled an entire library's deck, and I brought all of it up here. So I have like I think it was like 20 foot by 12 feet deck. So I've just been Decent medical stabbing cabin for sure. It's gonna be at one point, but it's also, this property's devoted to prayer, so I don't know how much premarital sex before I make God unhappy. You know what I'm saying? But I have a table. Can't keep those. There's a girl that wants to meet up, and we went to the lake together the other day. I think it was years ago. But she does coke. So I set an alarm on my phone, and then I pretended to answer it, and then I walked away, and then I said that they need me to come to work back on the property. That it's good to see her, and I'll hit her up later. What about those 3 girls you saw in town? No, I felt really bad about it, because I was like, man, she's pretty attractive. But she literally just pulled out the coke, put it on her fucking nail, and did coke right at the lake in front of everybody. And I'm like, yeah, I vape, but figured it was a sign. So I was sad. And then somebody sent me $333, which made my life. Now I have a computer. I have a nice computer that it's worth like $400, but they gave me a deal on it because they know what I'm going to be using it for. So I went there to go haggle for a shittier computer for $125, and then they said, you know what, with what you're trying to do, like the deck design and the gazebos and the tiny homes for the domestic abuse survivors and the monastery property you're working on and the Avatar TV show you're writing, I'm writing the Firebender season of Avatar, and I'm going to try to pitch it to Avatar Studios. And I also have my own animated show I've been writing for years called Wildfire, that I wanted a computer for. They were really excited about that, so she said, you know what, I got it for free because I work in IT for corporate, and they downsized, or not downsized, they upgraded, so it's like a 2021 computer. She said that she let me take it for $175. So $175 plus gas, so it ended up being like $210, and then I just spent $60 because there was a deal on vapes for 100,000 puffs for $60, which is unheard of out here in rural New England. So I got that. I started to build these. I wouldn't. Kai Smith, wish you the best of luck. I hope you get it. Thanks, man. Bender hopefully is a middle schooler. Bender, every time I comment in that group, he like goes off, and he gets worse and worse and worse. I'm making him really upset. It was to the point where he was like threatening to find my location, and all I say is just, hey man, this is my tone in the comments. I'm never mad at you guys when you talk shit. We're not in an internet beef. I don't care. I don't care. When I say I don't care, that's how I'm saying it. I really don't care. It's just sad, you know? Because at first he was trying to prove to everybody he had a life. And I was like, just give it a few days, guys. I promise you, you'll find out that Bender does not have a life. And then he went live, active in the comment section, 12 hours a day for 5 days, nonstop. So then I'd check in like in the morning, and then I'd check in at night, and I'd be like, you still doing this? So then he just kept getting angrier. He just kept getting mad. He would get really mad. So then I went in Robbie's chat, and I made an account called Bender a Bitch. And I gave Robbie $12.50. Because I was like, he did entertain me for 2 days. And then I found out about Boobert, that Robbie is kind of a pedo, so he's not getting my money no more. Unfortunately for him. But yeah. Roses are red, the Irish are black. Because he's a coward, won't even smoke crack. Present. No, I wouldn't smoke crack, though. Who's the Peter file? It turns out a lot of homeless people eventually give up on morality, I guess. What the hell? Did you hear that? Is that an alien? Turns out M stands for money, and Robbie Taggart are both kind of creeps. Which sucks because they're making homeless people look bad. We're not all bad. And I guess if they said this camper's mine and that I'm officially here, so I'm no longer homeless. Like, it's official. I'm no longer homeless. I live here, and I'm allowed to change the locks, and I don't have to pay rent or anything. I'm officially not homeless, and I did it my way. Everybody talked so much shit for years while I was suffering out there, freezing to death, and recording myself trying to find jobs, and then I would record them, show back up, and try to get me in the woods. So I'm feeling pretty good. If you remember 2 years ago, you guys remember the hair, bro? The hair that was like not one knot, and I had just given up on life because I had already gone for 2 years. And it's the same story. I'll say it because it's my story. Police brutality. Mom has schizophrenia. I unfortunately don't have schizophrenia, for the haters. No one wants to call me schizophrenic. I tested out. I don't have it, but I was raised by it, so I'm sure that has some fucked up shit. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be a demon. Either way, I got really excited for life. My lease ran out, and I was going to DoorDash and go all the way down to Austin, Texas. DoorDash saved money, and I was going to make content and find a group of people, go out on 6th Street and do, talk to people my age after I had kind of a brain injury in Section 8 for a few years. I had healed that, and my brain was fine. I went from not being able to move, not being able to read and write, like awake paralysis where I just can't move, and the distinction between forming words and my mind sucks. That's why sometimes I look like this, and it kind of seems like I'm jumping out of myself is because I slammed into a steering wheel going 90 miles an hour, and the airbag didn't go off. So then I was just really messed up, and I just walked on the track, and I fasted sunlight probiotics, ketosis, autophagy, neurogenesis, and I worked out every day, and I sat in the studio in my apartment for years, and I had just a bunch of friends come over. So there was during COVID, I would say 8 people at all times just going through my apartment, hanging out. So I learned how to talk to people again, and the girl I was in love with kind of treated me like shit, but so then I've made it, and then I let my release run out, and I'm ready to go out and make my dreams come true. And then my mom is holding a kitchen knife, smiling, locked the door, and is lying to the cops that I have a grenade. And then the cops believed her, and then they tackled me, maced me, didn't wash my eyes, left me in a broom closet with no running water or bedding for days, and now I have eye damage. And then I'm sure I regressed a little bit, and then they just kind of kicked me out, lied to the news about what happened, and then I had to travel around looking for work and trying to make my dreams come true. Eventually the car was taken, and then I stayed in a motel. I went in New York. Every town I went to, I drove a Dodge Magnum aftermarket everything. So they would pull me over with nothing. Sometimes, a couple of times, they would try to search the car. One time, they just ripped me out, threw me on the ground. Full on, almost George Floyd level shit, where they had the knee on my head while they're searching me, and I'm like, I don't consent. And then they said, well, you fit a description, and then they show me an image of just guy in his 20s on Google. You need a haircut, you look like a fool. Maybe at some point, King Cobra, long live KC, is in the chat. KC's in the chat, everybody. And I just like the hair right now. Eventually I'll cut it. It's not a big deal to me if I cut it. It's racism, they only do this because you are black. For real, man. What up, everybody? I can't read your name. Flying Unicorn Cat, what up? I was just talking about that, it was just everyday, bro. Like Jake Paul. It's everyday, bro. It's everyday bullshit. Like, even when I got into I went to Montreal. I got deported. They took my car. That's fair. I get back, and I'm at the Stonehill Motel in New York, and I'm waiting for the gas station to get back to me about employment. I'm going to work at the gas station. They seem interested. They're going to hire me. I would have to walk 5 miles, but that was nothing for me. I used to walk 10 miles a day on the track trying to fix a brain injury. Night 3 that I'm in there, the alarm goes off. The whole place is on fire. Turns out that not the homeless people, the motel owners cooked meth in a secret room on the other side of the laundry room. They opened up a panel and they had a whole meth operation. So that catches on fire. Then the Red Cross gives me $500, and they gave everybody $500, and then they kicked us into Plattsburgh, New York. So I was homeless there for a couple days, and then I made my way down to Keysville, and I got into a motel there. And then I'm waiting on the Family Dollar, but my birth certificate was somewhere. I lost it, I guess. Didn't have 2 forms of ID. So then I was like, maybe I'll just rest. I'd already been going for about 5 months now. I finally have like a decent setup, and I'm living with vice lords and a pimp from Albany that would come up. That I guess, he said he was a pimp. I never saw him do sex trafficking. Swear to God. I know he would go to clubs and he'd go off by himself. I don't know what he did, but he didn't say it, but everyone else said, no, he's a pimp. He pimps. So I don't know where that was happening, but I guess he was. I was just like, the only black people I'd ever been around in my life at that point was my vocal coach and my piano teacher, who were both, my vocal coach was Bob Dylan's vocal coach and background singer from New Orleans. Other than that, never been around a black person. Oh, I did go to West Virginia, and I hung out with black people for a little bit, and then they taught me to smoke BLKs and get Timbs in a chain. So I came back, and then I did live with there was some Haitian people, or maybe they're Cuban, but I know that they left the island and they were on a door, and they're both 6'5", they're twins, and they would take turns swimming. So one would rest on the back of the door, and then one would be on the front, and they swam all the way to Miami. And then they traveled all the way up to Vermont, and then got their citizenship, and now they work at the bread factory. And they have much nicer cars than anybody else in that town. I lived in like the closest thing to the slums of Vermont. Like, it's the projects. It's kind of right outside. Springfield, Massachusetts is 45 minutes away. Albany, New York is an hour away. So we get a lot of mixture. It's just a lot of drugs, low income. It's also got the Retreat in Brattleboro, where Sucker Punch was based off of the movie. It was based off the Retreat. So they're kind of taking in all the crazies and homeless people and drug addicts from New England, and they're congregating there. So it's pretty normal to see a naked person walking down the street, and you don't know if it's a nudist, because there's a nudist commune there. You don't know if it's just a crackhead. You don't know if it's just somebody's having a bad day. You'll see, it's weird. It says keep Vermont weird for a reason. People break and go psychotic. There's a guy with a full-time job. He's a politician in the state. He's an active member of the community. He's an honorable person. And then 2020 came around with COVID, and then he got butt-ass naked because of the Epstein shit, and he put ketchup down his ass crack, and he walked downtown in protest for the Epstein victims with a bloody asshole, walking naked. Hey, if you don't like my content, leave, man. But that's my hometown. And they're weird, but they're incredibly intelligent. They're also like the people my age. I just had a blessed generation. The most attractive, relatively speaking, people that I've ever seen in my life happen to be going to school with me at the time. The generation before me looked like inbred cave monkeys. The generation after me looks like inbred cave monkeys. And for some reason, the 99, 98, 97, 2000, and 2001 babies all came out looking like supermodels in my hometown. We also are our teams in that span of us, our community, like the seniors would take care of the freshmen, and the seniors took care of us when we were freshmen. That sort of 8 grades of people from when these freshmen became seniors and the seniors before them, D1 championship every year and everything. My graduating class became like Andy, who's Chinese, and his family owned the Chinese restaurant. he's now like a symphony orchestra conductor in New York. There's one girl, Ray, of all people, Ray is now like internationally famous and works with Noah Khan and Lake Street Dive. Um, I think one of my peers has his own boxing gym. One guy went to be D1 athlete. A lot of people went into special ops. They're like high level in the military. And I was on track. I had my own music studio. I was dating the prettiest girl in school. I was sort of the runt of the litter because I was homeless as a child and I never got to socialize. But I still rampaged through and got it, where I had a decent life. I was working multiple jobs. Had gone to college and got certified as an audio engineer. But then it was just, I shouldn't have been on, that whole stint, I should not have been on antidepressants. They were happy because I was functioning. I wasn't functioning because I was severely traumatized as a kid. And I never had a chance to heal because it was just one place to the next to the next. One of the places they would lock me in like the size of a closet. It wasn't a closet, it was like a room, and it was technically insurance allowed it, but it was about a quarter of the size of this camper room on a children's mattress, and it was a bunk, so I had a roommate, and they would only, it was specific for me where I had to eat a vegetable in order to get the junk food. The other kids were allowed to have junk food, but because they wanted me on this healthy eating regimen that the therapist had said I had to be on the healthy eating thing. So I had to have a vegetable, but most of the time we ran completely off donations. So if people didn't donate food like spaghetti and sauce and stuff on the food shelf, if the homeless people that were out, because there's a lot of homeless people, if they had eaten up the food shelf, we didn't really get much to eat, and the staff didn't pay for the, I mean, Jan would cook Jan spaghetti every Tuesday, but other than that, for us, it was mainly bread, and I would have to eat lettuce because the therapist said I had to eat lettuce. I had to eat a vegetable. There was only lettuce. So a lot of times I would literally be sitting in fucking the fucking closet in there, and then I think 45 minutes twice a day we left the room, and we would have group because we had to have group to make insurance. They were making $3,000 a month per kid. It was a scheme. It was a scheme for money. So they would like pack us in like sardines, and then we had to have some form of group. So then they would come bring us all downstairs, and the staff would be like, "How do you feel today?" And then the kids would be like, "I think my medication is wrong." But we're sitting in a room by ourselves all day. We don't know if we're thinking right or not. All I'm doing is locked in that room, figuring out, like, how do I convince the judge to let me go back to my schizophrenic mother? I would stand up in the courtroom and be like, and be trying to convince the judge, I know that my mom is not functioning and she's mentally ill, and you have already deemed that she is not, my parents are not legally allowed to be parents. But look at my grades, look at the situation that I'm in, extrapolate my vernacular, my intellect, and understand that I am competent and functioning, and that I can, at 14 years old, I think, I am able to operate regardless of a parental influence. So I'm not asking to be emancipated because I know you can't legally emancipate me. I'm saying, let me free, please, so I can have a childhood, and I will continue parenting my mother. Just let me go back. But my mom couldn't make the visits. She would say that she was coming, and she lived a mile down the road, and I'd wait there in the room the size of a closet all day. So I'd wake up at 6 because we had to brush our teeth, but then they would just lock us back in the room, and we would just sit there, and we weren't allowed to really make noise. So I would just listen to Ed Sheeran's Plus over and over again. And I just was like, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? And I just build my hopes up. Finally, at 4 o'clock, my mom's going to show up, and we're going to go get Cumby's Pizza, and I'll get a fountain drink, and I would put all the different flavors into the fountain drink, and then I would be able to watch Game Grumps. And then she just didn't feel like showing up that day. So they have plexiglass windows you can only see like this, a tiny little crack. And then on the other end of the parking lot is where my mom would go. So I would just wait there for like 2 hours straight just staring out the window waiting for her to show up. Just like, please, 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 please. And then she never came. But then I would get 15 minutes a day for phone calls, and then I would call my mom and be like, okay, what you have to do is we have to present you as a parent. You want me back? You want to be my mom, right? And she'd be like, yeah, I do, even though she doesn't. Convinced I need help, and I'm like, you've never even given me an opportunity to have a normal life. And then you punish me for not being normal. Everyone I talk to just says I'm ridiculous. I have ADHD now, but they say I'm really intelligent. They said that if they could, but it was out of the DSM, they'd give me savant syndrome. We did an IQ test, and I had 145 at 14. They never gave me a chance to prove that I wasn't crazy. So when you're kind of surrounded by people trying to convince you that you are, and I don't know what it was. Like, they did my blood work, my thyroid was fine. I've been off levothyroxine for a long time, and my blood work is fine, my thyroid is fine. I never had hypothyroid. I just was malnourished, I guess. But they still took all of our blood every 2 days. Like, it was a lot. Like, they not only did they lock us like sardines in there, but every 2 days we would be sent individually across the street with an escort to go in there where they would take our blood, and they wouldn't tell us like what the results are, how the medication is. A lot of time I wasn't even on medication, and they were still taking it. And I've looked it up. I've asked people, like, do they need to take your blood every 2 days? And they said, yeah, if you're on lithium. But I wasn't on lithium. So maybe they were looking for drastic changes in us, or it was some fault in the protocol. But to me, now that we know about adrenochrome, and I know now that sex trafficking is huge in this state, and it's specifically in DCF. I'm hearing horror stories across the entire state. It wasn't just where I was. It's everybody is in on it because it's just a lot of money. That kids are going missing, being abused. Horror stories of foster homes that prostitute the children out. And then if they don't, they beat them and cut them and stab them and take their cigarette butts out, and they get $3,000 a month to have them, and they don't pay them at all, and they actually torture them. Like one girl, she's still in foster care, and whenever her family feels like it, her foster family, they will just take her allergy meds away, and she needs like an EpiPen to live, and or she needs like some breathalyzer thing too. She has like this really bad allergic reaction to life, and they just fuck with her. They'll take it from her for fun. And then they fuck. One time she like the actual brother, her foster brother, who was their actual son, was like, I don't know, I think he was punching her in the shoulder for fun. Just like ran out of the room and just started beating her shoulder in. And then she was doing dishes, and he just ran out, this 14-year-old kid, and she's 15. Beat her, was just beating her. And then she broke a plate. Like, and then she broke the plate. And then the mom, swear to God, true story, she showed me the scar and everything. Her friend vouched that he was there when it happened. And they didn't get any charges. But the mom ran out, took the kitchen knife, and stabbed it into her leg. My situation wasn't that bad. They didn't beat us. They still like locked us in rooms, and they didn't feed us. And then when I was 18, at the end of the DCF journey, I could only really feel comfortable if I had a nest. Like, if you notice, I tend to throw all my shit around, and that makes me feel comfortable. I don't know. But I would do that with my clothes. Like, I would dump my clothes on the floor, and then I wouldn't pick them up. Clean laundry too. And I just it felt better, like it felt like I was a planet, and that was my ring around me of protection. It's just PTSD, I guess. Or maybe I just was so accustomed to sleeping in such a small space that when I got a bigger space, I couldn't really feel safe. I also grew up, like, I don't know, abusive childhood as well, I guess. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. Like, I think my parents only hit me 3 times. And I kind of asked for it each time. I'm not going to lie. Like, other than when my dad whipped me around the house by my leg and tried to beat me to death with a hammer and then tried to break all my shit. And then when I left in Sub-Zero, in pajama bottoms and a V-neck and no shoes on, just socks, carrying my Xbox and my TV, and he was playing chicken, trying to slurp on the ice and hit me and kill me. Uh, I didn't do anything to that, but when I was 7, I think, or maybe I was 6, and my mom said that she was getting me a Lego toy, and we were driving back from New York or Connecticut or something. It was a long, like 8-hour drive, and she told me over the phone that she was going to get this Star Wars Lego toy for me. So I wanted to go to Walmart to see what it was. So I just went ah for like 5 hours straight, just screaming in the back, "I want my Lego! I want Lego!" And then finally, my dad just clocked me, and I don't think I even cried because I understood. I was like, yeah, maybe I took it too far. Maybe I am kind of a spoiled brat. But then 2 years later, corrupt cops pulled him over and ripped him out of the car, and then he had to fight them off, and then they ripped me out of the car. I think they dislocated my shoulder. My shoulder's always been kind of fucked up since. It really hurt. And they dragged me over to my dad and held me there and made me watch. And he never got over that. And I think he stopped working and we lost our home. And then he moved into a camper. And then he started house sitting, like full-time house sitting, not on the property. Now he was full-time there at the other property. And I dropped out of school, and I was at 14. I moved back in with him, and I was trying to get a house. I was trying to get us enough money so that he could put a down payment on the house, and then I would pay for it. And then I would go get my GED later. But I wanted a couple years to get buff and learn guitar, and then I was going to go back to school as a junior and skip my freshman and sophomore year because I could test out of it. I would skip school, and I wouldn't go to school for half the year, and then in the other half, they were like, didn't know how to punish me. So I said, hey, put me in ISS and stack up all my paperwork up to here, and I'll sit there, and I would do it all in a day. And then I would test out, and then go to the next grade. Yes, I mean, one time, I didn't ask for this. One time my dad ran around the house when I was, I think, 8, or maybe I think I was in 5th grade. In 5th grade, it's always something about he doesn't think I love him enough. So he was mad I didn't love him enough. And he ripped all my books apart. He took my piano and smashed it over his knee in half. And then he took kitchen knives and was throwing it at the wall. And he was good. He was like across the living room, like from me to the shed back there. And he was whipping kitchen knives into the wall. And just like running around the room, running around the living room going, you don't fucking love me? My mom is, I don't think I've ever had a full-length conversation with my mom where she's not guilt-tripping me and accusing me of things and trying to make me feel bad and just shit-talking me and telling me I need help. And then I'm like, you don't even know me. We don't spend any time together. What's this thing that the son needs help? You don't know what I do outside of your room. You live in your room. You don't know how I am when I talk to people. You don't know when I go to work. I work 3 jobs. You need help. The idea that you're a victim of me is what you're doing to cope. The craziest I am is just a lack of social conditioning, which I'm working on. The help that I need would be, help me with my pre-made meals for my bodybuilding. And she did, and I actually gained like 15 pounds of muscle because she was meal prepping for me. That's probably the best relationship we ever had, was when she would meal prep for me and I'd go pick up food from her because I couldn't live with her. But as far as needing help, I think twice in my life I blew up on my parents. And both of those crash outs were pretty reasonable, given the home environment. But they held it against me for years, where they can't be at fault and it has to be me. Like, I'm not a perpetual victim that's making shit up and just ruminating. It really was like, I tell people just about my life story. It sucked. But it's not schizophrenia, as much as people want to believe. I get literal stuff from the universe. I ask for right to left birds. I ask for shooting stars right to left, and I get them. And then I taught people on my phone through the YouTube how to do it, and they go out and ask for shooting stars, which is a crazy schizo thing where they go, can I get a shooting star, please, right to left? and then they'll get to them. It's even like one of the stories is that a bird, it was the middle of the night, and then she asked, "Can I get a shooting star?" And then a bird flew above her head, flew over here. She was like, "That's weird, a bird." And then where the bird landed, that's where the shooting star went. The bird showed her, "We'll give you a shooting star, but it has to be over here for some reason." Or it was showing off that it's much bigger and more connected than we realize. And yeah, the Casey and Ray story. In 2017, I had a big crush on a girl named Ray. And then in 2018, oh, it gets even crazier because I would watch the Star Wars Force Awakens. When they would eventually, if you can stay in that room for 90 days and you don't lose any behavior points, so if you make your behavior points at the end of the day when the staff do shift change, they have a log about how you behaved. And we were supposed to be out playing and going to groups, and they were supposed to be taking us to things, but they were just saying they were doing that, and they were locking us in a room. But they're supposed to judge, how did you do at this outing? How did you do at this outing? How did you do at this outing? How did you do in this group? And you have behavior points. And if you make enough behavior points, you get okay status. And if you're at okay status, you're supposed to be able to watch 15 minutes of TV a day. You're supposed to be able to eat one small bag of junk food a day. And you're allowed to have the unhealthy option, which would be spaghetti rather than a peanut butter sandwich with lettuce on it. You'd be allowed to have the spaghetti if you made okay. If you didn't make okay, which is like you mouthed off to the staff and you're like, "Let me out of the room," then they dock a point, and now you're punished, and you don't get to call your family, you don't get to visit with your family, and you're locked in the room. You're not allowed to leave the room unless it's to go to the bathroom, and then you shower once every 2 days. So eventually I made responsible status, which is that you have to go through that for 90 days where you just don't say a word to anybody and you just sit in the room for 90 days, and then they judge you based off of your performance, and then you get responsible. And then if you do it for another 90 days, then you're allowed to go, and you yourself are allowed to walk to the library for an hour a day. They have to know that you won't run away after they lock you in a room for what's 180 days. That's 6 months, right? After 6 months, if you don't say a word and you just sit there, and I would mouth off, I would joke, I would make jokes. When they would take us to the outing, I would make out with the girls. The girls and I would make out. The staff would be here, and then I'd wait for the staff to move, and then I'd perfectly time me brushing my hand along the girl's back, we'd pass notes to each other. I dug a hole through my room into the girl's room with this girl, and then we would trade underwear, and then we would instead of sexting, we would pass dirty notes to each other. And I dug it with a shark tooth. I dug this like Shawshank Redemption hole to the other room. So I lost my responsible status. But when I did have responsible, I would, for my 15 minutes a day, I would watch Guardians of the Galaxy, or I would watch Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And I loved Daisy Ridley because that, like, Gamora was hot, but she's green. Daisy Ridley was the only woman that I had access to watch was Rey in Star Wars. So that's the first Rey that I can think of. Then when I got out, there was Rey that I had a crush on that became famous. And then I met my foster brother, John Michael, whose dad's name was Ray and his middle name was Ray. And then John Michael and I would fight over the girl Ray about who's going to get a feature with her. And then I ended up living with Elliot Hulse's nephew in college, Zay. And his middle name was R. So it was Zay R. That's kind of Ray to me. But then when I got back, my neighbor's name was Brian. But the girl up the road's name was Ray. And her name was Brianna, and then the guy's name was Brian. And I was like, that's a Brian name, but her middle name is Ray. She goes by Ray. Swear to God. And she has a twin named Alicia. Swear to God. And then John Michael moved in when I was 19 with the brain injury. Then I left, and I didn't see another Ray. I saw a lot of Brians. I saw a lot of Georges. I saw a lot of Heathers, a lot of Todds, a lot of Jessies. But then, as I'm driving, And as I DoorDash and traveled, I'm always I'm thinking about my friend Alex, and I see Alex's way. I'm thinking about Brian, I see Brian's way. I see Jacob's way. I'm like, how come there's never any Casey's? So then I see Clover Road, and I'm like, I wonder what's down Clover. I go down Clover, and then there's Casey Road. I was like, there's a Casey Road in Burlington. And you have to go down the road that's the same name as my dad, then you have to go down the road that's the same name as my foster brother, and then you go down Two Brothers Road, and then you get to O'Brien Farm Road, and then there's Clover, and then there's Casey. So then I'm on Casey, and I'm going to turn around and take a picture of it, and I have to go down McNeil Road. McNeil comes from Nile. McNeil and O'Neill come from Nile, the king, the high king before Brian Boru. So I'm on McNeil Road. I turn around, take a picture of Casey Road. I post it on Facebook. I hit refresh. Ray McNeil burned down in McNeil's Pub in Brattleboro, Vermont. And it was a hub for Irish and Native Americans to gather. It was like a safe place for Native American tribes. My phone died. Tong 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 say you. Tong tong say you. Tong tong say you. Isabel, right? You're good, bro. Just be stronger, and you're just mentally stuck in the past. I'm just talking about my life, man. Why is it around? I'm just talking about my life. Burn all down to celebrate what Ray McNeil did for the Native community across the country by allowing them a safe place for the past 40 years to go. And he burned down, and I guess he either he committed suicide or he let the wrong person know that he was resetting the fire system, the sprinkler system. Or maybe he was in with some bad people and faked his death and moved to Mexico. Ray was supposed to go on a trip to Mexico the next morning, and he had told everybody that he had to reset the sprinkler system or something. So while he was on vacation, the bar was going to be closed, and he was going to pay to have it fixed. And he was going to. Then a month went by. I dated a girl named Jessie, and I was talking to my cousin Jessie every day. I went to that town to see my ex Jessie, and I didn't like that she had become an addict. So I didn't hook up with her, and I wound up dating another girl named Jessie. And my coworker when I worked at the dollar store, her name was Jessie. And then I left the dollar store, and I moved over to Essex, and I was living in my car broken down, and the gym trespassed me when I tried to get a job there because they assumed I must be an addict if I'm living in my car. And I said, it's just broken down. I'm just trying to work to fix it. So I went to, but before that, so Ray McNeil burned down in McNeil's Pub when I'm on McNeil Road taking a picture of the first Casey Road I've ever seen. And then I worked at the dollar store for 3 months. Then I wound up at McNeil Cove in Burlington. And I lived at McNeil Cove for a while. Then I moved into my car broke down in Essex Junction, and I lived at a McDonald's all day, and then I would curl up at night in the back of the car, and then it got cold, so I would sneak into the laundromat and I would sleep in a dryer. And then the owner would storm in, rip the dryer door open, and then storm back out. And I was like, I was just there under a pile of clothes, hoping that he doesn't. Then eventually he got really mad about that, so there was like a thing in the about this big, like I could barely fit between the wall and the vending machine. So I would crawl into the behind the vending machine when it would be like negative. It gets really cold in Vermont. So on the -20 days, when I just can't be out in the car there, I would curl up there so that I could wait until like nightfall, and then I would crawl under the camera with my extension cord, and then I could make my music, and I would make music all night. I'm just another motherfucker from the gutter. I remember that. I can't remember the whole thing, but it was like it was just a bedroom boom bap beat, and the chorus was, "It tastes so sweet, but you go down smooth like mac and cheese." But then I wrote "Park and Ride," and that's one of my best songs. No, I started "Park and Ride." I was working on "The Storm," which I've never. I don't think I've ever. Something big is coming. I can feel it in my bones. I told my soldiers, stay woke and stay close. I got my eyes tuned to the sky and a hand clutching that pole. It gets harder every day. It's getting harder every day to break the mold. Every time I feel safe, the only time I feel safe is in that brief moment when my eyes open, then something comes and tries to take control. Every night is a fight with things that try to slip inside. I won't allow it. Every day it's getting more and more apparent that we're living in that movie about the chum bucket. Something sinister is always up to something. I'm only here to make sure all my brothers hold on to each other. I got a gun inside my glovey if it comes. All my family will feel the love. I'm getting vivid visions and seeing spirits of angels telling me to fight my demons. Shit is getting weird. Let me make it clear. Once I kill my fear, I'ma find a way for all of us to make it out of here. Now my vision's clear, I'm switching up the gears. I never felt the same sitting around all my peers, hearing voices in my ear, tried to tell them couldn't hear. Found my soul and kept it sealed. I'm just trying to keep it real, give them something they can feel. Treading water, Navy SEAL, cause Mac taught me staying still. Wait, killing COVID, skipping meals, shooting robots in the field. Wait, killing COVID, skipping meals, hacking robots in the field, shooting lasers through the tears. Treading water, Navy SEAL, cause Mac taught me staying still will get you killed. Just wait until I break out my restraints again. I'm flying straight up to the heavens, then I'm coming back, swinging for my friends. They used to call me crazy, now they stuck under a blanket sending prayers while I'm out here screaming at the storm until it ends. And then the chorus is a bunch of my friends in their rap group from 2013 before I became homeless that wound up being very talented. And I would just rip their music because they always had a verse open and nobody ever put a verse on it. I knew that's for me, but they never reached out to me. So I was going to finally make the song, and I'm a way better producer than they are. So I always took their stuff to the next level. But Alex is he's really good too. But his chorus is, I see the storm come. I light a candle, lock my doors. I see the storm come. It comes for me. And then about 15 other people join in, which is just the small town community that left me to die. They're all in it because they all make music. And I see the storm come. Sheltered in place, I drink alone. I see the storm come. And I flipped it and made it a drill beat because it was 2022. So I made it a drill beat, and I made the mix. I added the exciters and the harmonizers so that it sounds like 100 people, and it sounds like a storm is coming in. And then the drum fills over a drill beat. It's really cool. And then there's thunder, there's shot for shot, there's fall, there's outside. Sad face emojis, which is something my brother wrote, my dead younger brother. All I see is sad face emojis when I look around. I know that my granny's looking down proud. And then my verse is, I just found my inner child and I gave that boy a crown. What is you? What up, hip hop? It's just a lot of work. So I finally got pallets. So now I'm in the process of moving everything from here over onto the pallets. Then I'm gonna move a go over. There's a bunch of leaks on the camper, so I got this Shelter Logic tent. I'm putting it over. I'm gonna find a way. I want to make it look nice. I haven't really figured out a way to make it look nice, so I have to probably take duct tape, put it a little bit over, duct tape it all, maybe staple or like really small nails, but enough to catch. So it doesn't go through it's like fully tarred roof. So it doesn't fully go through there, or maybe I just screw it directly onto the frame there and then drape it over. And then I have to find a way to probably 3 different ropes. So like really long rope, and I do have rope somewhere. Probably attach rope to each corner in the middle and then have them all knotted in the center there so that I can just, on this side with a pulley, pull it so that it goes back over the top, and then have another one that I pull down so that it's draped over. And then I did build an arbor, but some old Christian man threw a temper tantrum and he fucking knocked my arbor. He pushed my arbor over. He thinks I'm taking advantage of the owner, who is 95. I don't know how old he is. I know he's in a nursing home. Sometimes they say he's 87. Sometimes they said he was 92. I don't know the exact age, so I say 90. I didn't mean 95. I think he's 90. If I said the wrong thing, I always correct myself. But he is old, and he can't come here physically, and nobody knows what's going to happen to the property. But he has 1,000 acres across the state, is what I've been told. Is that he has, this is 100. He's got another 200, and then he's got another 300, and then he's got another place, and I don't know how much. So they said it's around 1,000 total. I don't know if that 1,000 is actually here, but I know he's got at least, what did I say? About 600 acres across the state. And if you guys have been here long enough, like Hip Hop Slug, tell the people, like, how long have I been saying I wish I had multiple properties? Hopefully you've been around long enough. All I wanted from life was multiple properties around the state so that I could travel between them and do something big. And I found this place, and they said I can change the locks to the camper. They said the only real thing is that if the camper ever caves in and is no longer livable, they're not going to get another one. But that's not really up to them to do. They don't own the property. Dude is crazy. Yeah, him and his wife are both heart surgeons. So they invested all their land probably in the not the 40, probably when they were 40 and they're 90. Back when land was really cheap, I bet they just made a lot of money together as heart surgeons, and they invested it here. And they said that they're basically ridiculously wealthy off of investments, so that property tax is never an issue for them. I know specifically the property tax for this 100 acres is $9,000, but that pretty much is going to double next year because of Vermont's second home tax. So all of his properties are going to double in property tax if a primary resident doesn't take ownership. So it's like it's a godsend for me and them, because they can continue with their dream of building this up to be a Christian apocalypse sanctuary. How many times have I said I wanted a sanctuary, and that's what this place is supposed to be? If I become the primary resident, and there's no strings attached, I'm not going to trespass anybody. I'm probably the best person to take over the place. But the 60s and 70-year-old men that are in a Christian fraternal organization that wear merch that says KC on it, the people that wear the KC shirts, they're very not happy with me being here. One guy got in my face, like this close to my face, breathing really heavily, screaming about how he quarantines his loved ones. And then I was like, what do you mean quarantine? He's like, oh, I had a stroke. Telling me I'm taking advantage of the owner. Then he takes the side-by-side and he's doing burnouts. And I messaged the other guy in the KC and I was like, do you think, has God punished that guy yet for doing that? Like trying to instigate me into behavior he could use against me? Isn't that literally one of the 10 commandments? Is like, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. And he was trying to instigate something he could bear false witness to and lie to character assassinate the homeless guy that wants to find God. So he said, no, God does not work like that. He's not going to get punished. Maybe just show that you're making the property better for them, which I felt was a little jab because every time he comes up here, he's like, you need to work on this stuff. So he was just doubling down on clean your shit, which is understandable. I'm just getting better slowly. I no longer have the PTSD freakouts. The crows bother me sometimes, but I don't get to the point of violence anymore where I'm like, just fucking land and I'll shoot you. They scream at me and I'm just like, it's unfortunate. I go, stop, please stop. And they're just, 4 of them are just around me. And I feel them every time I feel a good emotion or I'm thinking about what I'm going to do in the future. It still triggers them. But the other stuff has gone away. Like I'm no longer in constant fight or flight where I'm just clutching my weapon, expecting something bad to happen, curled up in the corner, coping. So I'm gonna say my dream happens to be owning multiple properties across the state and improving it so that they could be a sanctuary for other people to find God. And then at the end of the journey, after 12 years, I left during the year of the horse, 2014. In the year of the horse, and I think the last year of the horse was 214. So it's a 7-year, which delves into leaving into higher realms of thought. And I was taken north into a shelter where I had to help homeless kids. Now, 12 years later, when at the end of the cycle for the horse year, I now have, and my whole plan was to get it to a place where I could get buff and make music and make art. And it didn't work for 12 years. I tried. And now I have, after 12 years, on a 10-year karmic Capricorn, instead of 7, which was Libra, or maybe it's Libra, because 6 is Virgo. It was a Libra year. Now it's a Capricorn year and an Aries year, and I'm on a mountaintop. Instead of being the balance between all the chaos, like Libra, I'm now on the mountain with the power and authority. And the karmic reward that we were supposed to get is that my abuser died 15 minutes after I broke down crying, saying I can't make the feeling of what he did to me go away. And then he has a heart attack 15 minutes later. I got a car, essentially for free. I still owe $1,000, but I have a car. And I got this place. And then I wake up in the morning, and then what I need is for free. I wanted a deck, and then for free was a deck. I wanted cinder blocks, and then they gave me a deal for $2,000 worth of stone for $100. I wanted a computer, and then I got a $600 it's a Lenovo ThinkPad 2021, 16 gigabytes of RAM, upgraded processor or graphics card or something special she put in it. And significantly better than what I had just gotten 2 days ago. I got a computer for $125. I was able to trade her that computer for this better one for $175. And that was because the other day I got a $333 donation. So then I didn't want to vape. I wanted to quit vape, but then I literally just over and over again, get a vape, get a vape, get a vape, get a vape. And then I was like, are you sure? And then all the birds over and over. And then I went to get a vape and it was closed early. So then I drove down the road and went to a different shop that I know sells vapes. And then there was a deal for 1 day only where they accidentally ordered extra. So they were giving back to the community where it was buy one, get one free. And it was a deal. So instead of paying, usually it would be about $120. I got it for $60. So I still spent $60 and I'm not happy about it because I didn't really want to vape, but I can't knock that there was the sign telling me to go, and then where I went was closed, and then where I went was a 1 day only deal to get them. So I have vapes now. There's free shit. The only thing I'm missing is clips and weights for the. I have a bench now I got for free. I got an Olympic bar that's worth 75 that somebody gave me for 20. So I just need weights. And I have a whole gym in my aunt's basement. I just don't want to go yet. It would cost me, I'd have to drive 3 hours, I think, to get back to my hometown from where I am. Maybe 3.5 hours. So I'm trying to get something, a deal on something. But I do have a pull-up and dip station. I have to find somewhere buried in this mess is I'm gonna have to get now with the rest of this 40. I'm gonna go get a gas can for 25, which I'm not happy about, but I'm gonna get a gas can because it's better. I don't want to go out into public and have people see me taking the lawnmower out and then only filling it up like a gallon and then putting it back in, and then when it sways, the gas leaks out and shit. I'm just gonna get a gas can and keep the gas can out here. It's better because there's not, you have to drive a ways to get to a place that sells non-ethanol gas that the mower needs. So then I'm gonna do that. Then I'm gonna mow around this and leave room for the flowers to still grow. I have a bunch of seeds to put the flowers. Sometimes, like, I don't poop out here. I drive 4 minutes to the top and then I go look at the nice view and I shit out in like a private property somewhere I'm not telling you about. I have a designated shit spot because I don't want to leave the toilet paper here. It's somewhere that I know that the owners live in California, and it's just a vacant land that is owned by like a mortgage company, hedge fund thing. A lot of Vermont is owned by people across the country that know that it's the most beautiful place in the country. So they invest a lot, and they're just going to be sitting on it probably forever to leverage for credit or some shit. Eventually give to a billionaire pedophile, most likely. Is what I'm assuming is happening. So I go shit up there. Best view I've seen in my life so far. I have a $1 trillion bathroom. But I could potentially start shitting in a bucket, turning it into fertilizer, and then make flower beds. Like a wave pattern around this. A wave pattern around this. And then install like rose bushes and just bushes. I eventually would like to cut all that back and put a retaining wall, and then have stuff that grows really like vines that grow up like vine bushes instead of these prickers, something better that grows like a lot. And then I control the growth so that it weaves with like an instruction book on, if I'm gone, how to do it. So then continue weaving until it's a canopy, and then mosquito net under it so that you sit under there. And then it's just a big farm for birds to eat all the bugs that go there. Crow didn't like that. And then over here I have to build like the arbor, or I would like to layer something over the top here, then down the side, sort of kind of frame it in, and then have an extension out this way. Killed a mosquito. Have an extension out over the side and overhang, and then layer the tarp over that, so that in the winter time I just fold the tarp on itself so that it covers, and then just leave the bones kind of sticking out. And then over here I'd like to put stone around, dig in and put another stone step down, dig in and put another stone step down, so people show up over here and there's no ticks, and they sit, and then surround it with arbor vitae, kind of, or just like an arbor vitae here and here, and then put a drain so that all the water comes down here and drains. Above the drain, it goes stone into wood right here, and then build a porch like Treehouse Masters. Cut this down and build a big deck with like a gazebo top and mosquito net, because if you look, it's a really decent drop. So I'd like the overhang to be over the drop there. So it's an area that people normally wouldn't go to, and it's kind of just hard to get to, but you could be kind of over it. But for right now, I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do here. I know I want to put these stones around, and then I've just been collecting slate. So anytime I find slate or flat dark rocks, I put it over here. I got this. That's cool to sit on. It's pretty cool. And then just these random ass rocks. I'm thinking of the way that they put the rocks here. As I get more rocks, just eventually cut back, leave these trees open to grow, potentially, but then get under all that retaining wall. Again, more retaining walls so that we have a view and an overhang that goes around like this with a pathway down that way in, with more gazebos with screen meshes down there to kind of walk all the way, because down there is where the glowing cross is. So I would make a walkway up this way. I want to be able so that people, right now there's only 3 trails. There's one big mile-long trail that goes all the way down to the road through the mountain. There's a steep road that goes down to the main road, and there's a big flat place with the tiny home and the shed and the glowing cross. Then there's one trail that I drive the car up to get up to the mountaintop here. And then there's another raised section, and then there's a big trail, like maybe 2.5 cars wide, that goes up to another big cross. And then there's that trail goes down winding, and then there's a 50-acre hay field and an apple orchard that I haven't touched yet. But in there's another 50 acres of untouched forest that nobody goes in, and it's just deer hanging out there. I'd like to, even if it's just like tiny paver step trails where you just walk through it, and then you get to places that are mosquito netted. And I want to invent, it's like privacy walls where it's like a curtain, but the curtain's in a rectangular thing with like a curtain rod, and then it extends out, and then you grab the latch and you can pull it open like a curtain, but it's like a curtain, but it's cut out with mosquito net. So when you want to use it, you just pull the curtain out, and then it locks into place. And then when you're done with it, so that it doesn't get moldy with rain and everything and snow, you just put the curtain back, and then you lock it in so that it doesn't get in. I don't know if I'd like to just keep mowing this and rake all the leaves every year and then plant flowers here, because this is a nice seating section, but the mosquitoes are just out of control. So nobody really hangs out because the mosquitoes are bad. So I was thinking retaining wall block, flatten it out, stone pavers, not like these, like actual patio pavers, and then just a beam and shingle gazebo with more of those mosquito curtains. So that now when you come up here and you've had your exercise and everything, there's here, and then around from that well, there will be rainwater collectors, and then the solar power, as long as there's solar and everything works, it'll just be constantly running a pump. I don't think it's that taxing to do. Like, I don't think you're going to have to replace any parts usually. I think as long as you just make sure that it's dry and you shut it off at the start of November, as long as you shut it off at the start of November, I think it's fine. But from spring through summer, a man-made stream where it just pumps into a solar pump, and it just goes around the whole thing of just a constant flowing stream that goes to fountains. So there's a fountain here, a fountain over here. That would be cut out stone, prayer spot with a fountain, so that instead of hearing the crows and the crow drama and all the screaming when people try to meditate and it triggers the crows, which does happen a lot, now you can focus on the running stream water. And sort of, instead of feeling like enmeshed in your community and so trapped in the matrix and all this drama, you have your own big resonance chamber with wind chimes and the running water sound. Plus it attracts animals, and so deer would be coming up here to drink, and it'd just be really nice, I think. So that's potential. And then a seating area here with a fire pit and a drain that goes out into a deck overlooking. And then this, ideally, I don't know what I'm gonna do now that I have the this tarp draped over everything. I don't like the tarp here. Maybe I'll cut it. Maybe I'll make an overhang. It was supposed to be taking those those concrete cement pavers and putting them all down here, and then building the table and chairs, and then I have an umbrella for the sun. But for right now, I'm just going to be taking all the wood, moving all the wood over to here, and then moving the gazebo over the wood so that it doesn't get rained on. I wanted an arbor, but I guarantee you if I build it again, he's going to smash it again. They come up when I leave and they snoop around to see what I do, and then they took my trash bags, they took my shovel, and then they came back recently and chucked my trash bags. They smashed my arbor, took the trash bags and whipped it into the camper. They whipped it through the door, and then they had the shovel and they just dumped the shovel in the middle of the trail there. So I got my poop shovel back, but it was my metal one, but it was in a place where if I were to send it up this hill really fast, I would have ran it over. Like, it was strategically kind of placed. And I leave for like 30 minutes at a time, which means that they have a camera and they're watching me. Somehow somebody is letting them know when I leave, so they show up when I'm gone. Because I only leave to go to the gas station to get food once a day. I go get 2 rib sandwiches for $6. Somehow, in that amount of time, they show up and do shit. So I think I'm just gonna use the arbor and have it on both sides, or maybe I need to build some type of overhang support for this, and I have screws and drill. I don't know. Then we'll see how the storm does. If it holds up in the storm, I'm just gonna leave this shit here and do my laundry to start. Move everything under the gazebo during the storm, organize it, do all the laundry and fold the laundry so that it's good. Then I can, now that this overhang is here, I can take all my shit and just throw it out. Then I can take I got a new thing of spick and span, and I got a bunch of paper towels. I'm just gonna scrub everything down, get the mold out, and then I'm gonna have to figure out what am I gonna do with the moldy fabric. Tung tung sir. Tung tung sir. I just saw Hannah Montana. What, the giblets? Then I'm gonna have to find my screws, which I can do that. I don't know. We can throw that mattress out today. I'm gonna piss. I'm gonna take a piss over here. It was $3,000 a day, I think, for kids. They said the insurance company was paying that. Oh shit, my flash down. The insurance company was paying the program $3,000 a day per kid, and we had 60 kids, and we were stuffed like sardines, and they fed us fucking bread, and then every Tuesday Jan would cook spaghetti. We had peanut butter sandwiches, and then oftentimes we didn't have peanut butter, so we were just eating bread, and then sometimes random strangers would come donate donuts, and they would each give us half a donut, which was pretty cool. How are these people allowed to do that? We didn't have internet. Social, like Facebook popped off in 2011, right? This was 2014. Facebook was only really around for 3 years. Like Instagram was just coming out. There was no Twitter. There was no YouTube, really. Like you couldn't make a short saying, "Please help me. This is what they're doing to me. This is what they're doing to us. Please consent." You know, and then that would go viral, and Asmongold would be like, "What the fuck?" Now the program is closed because it's easy for them to be held accountable. But foster homes are still raping and torturing the children. The number that just came out in the news article is that 1/5 of the population of homeless people in the state is under 18 right now. So there's 8,000 homeless people in the state. According to the news, 1/5 of those are 18 and under. That generation of Gen Z kids left home. And Vermont is like a vortex. Once you get here, you can't get out. It's either take a train to New York City and get robbed and raped, or stick around where it's relatively safe and it's beautiful, but you can't get a job. The programs won't pay for you to get your form of ID. And then usually within the first couple days, what I've seen from the kids is that, especially in Burlington, they get hooked on crack pretty quickly. So then the 18-year-olds become addicts, crack addicts. And then usually they rape them. The kids get raped. And then the youth program in Burlington is paying, they only keep LGBTQ kids. They trespassed me, I think Schemy, Slimy, Smelly Ethan got to stay. That fucking turncloak, but I'm pretty sure they trespassed Silas, they trespassed Cade, who had a kid. They trespassed Zach, I think, or Skylar, his name was. I think Jaden got to stay. I think Phoenix eventually got axed and then moved down to Florida. But then the LGBTQ kids would get to stay, and then the bus station would be talking and said that the girl with blue hair said, and she was pretty attractive too, said Chris at Spectrum paid her $50 to hook up with his friend, and then she just disappeared. We don't know what happened. So then I asked around, and I was like, "Do you know that Chris at Spectrum is paying kids for sex?" And then I got trespassed from every single homeless program except CVOEO. I got trespassed from YDP. I got trespassed from the Howard Center. I got trespassed from Spectrum. And then I posted on Facebook, hey, this happened. And then a bunch of people reached out to me and said, yeah, I used to work for Howard Center. They're doing sex trafficking. I got fired because I went to management and said, hey, do you know what's happening? They said, either shut the fuck up or quit. And then I didn't shut the fuck up. So then they made their own community action program. And that's how I met them, because they came to give me a tent. And now they set up something called Hope, I think. Now they kind of work with sex trafficking survivors as well. And then another organization popped up in central Vermont that I know that is starting up their own sanctuary to combat sex trafficking, where they're looking at land and they have a nonprofit already set up, and it's a money laundering scheme, but it is what it is. There are some people trying to help. So potentially, hopefully the video uploaded. I went to check out a bunch of sheds, because you don't need a permit. They call it permit here instead of permit. You don't need a permit to have a shed. And then if it's not a bedroom, it's not a bedroom. If it's just cots, where you just lay a cot, or let's say we have a warehouse and the warehouse is full of twin mattresses, then it's just like how you see the monasteries in movies, like in One Battle After Another and Disclosure Day, where they both coincidentally go to monasteries. Those monasteries run the same setup. So I kept hearing the word monastery, monastery, monastery over and over again when I got here. And now the movies I'm watching, Disclosure Day, which is about how at the KC station, Chloe and Ethan and Nathan and all the Casey names are there. We're the people that can understand reality, because the nature, which turned out, spoiler alert, it wasn't nature, it was aliens pretending to be the animals. And we're downloading codes into their brain as kids. And then again, activated them as adults by sending a cardinal. I think it was like 2 live streams ago, I was talking about how in Disclosure Day, the aliens pretend to be animals, and then they come out of the woods and just stare at you. And then a beaver, all the way up on this mountaintop, a beaver walked out of the woods and then stared at me and stared at the camera the same way. And when it stared at the camera reconnected. My whole phone lost service when the thing stared at me. And then it just stood there staring at me the same way it does in Disclosure Day. And then eventually it walked away. And that takes place at the KC station. And then, who are we watching, guys? We're watching Robbie Taggart, right? Cat and Clark, KC in the back rooms. And then Mary. And then I'm here with the big Mary statue, going live every day. Talking to the church up the road. The woman's name is Mary. And then Robbie, who dies in the back rooms, because Cat and Clark drag him down into the back rooms, and he dies down there. While I was trying to work at Robert Stone, which hasn't called me back in months. And I've gone there several times, and they say that they hired his ex-wife's kids, the owner of the property, who's a multimillionaire. Instead of hiring me, instead they hired 3 teenage kids to do the same work I would be doing. So, still no job. But I have a computer now. Now I can cover this and get the mold out so I can set up the workstation. And then I can work on, I'll get Photoshop. And then I will start making the merch. And then we'll have KC merch, Kingdom Clothes, Armor of God, Divine Apparel, or whatever. Let's do a poll. How do I do a poll? How I do poll chat? Button. That's a super chat goal. Playables. Nope. Stickers. Paul. Christian clothing. Kingdom clothed. Armor of God. Start, Paul. A little bit of audience interaction. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes, though. I'm getting fucking eaten up by mosquitoes, though. People assume that I'm a vet because of this on my shoulder, and I don't correct them. But it's cool. It's got... My name means brave, and it says Bravo. And it's a Native American. Which is pretty cool. I want a shirt that's got a red cross on the back. The cross is kind of, it starts here, like the crossbar. So it looks more like a T, but it goes down the back, and then it's in like graffiti bubble letters that are white with like a golden sort of border around it. It says, "God got my back." And then probably divine apparel embroidered on the side, or salvation on the side or something. And then I was gonna do, I don't know what I would do here, probably just a smaller version of the cross here, red on black. And then I would do orange on green, like forest green. And then I would do with white letters still, and then I would do a brown with like a yellow like this. And it's stuff like, "You can't hide from God. God got my back. God is with us. Wake up." And then like a big, like woven tree on the back, like a full-on embroidered tree. Brown and green and gold on like a tie-dye green shirt. Maybe tie-dye brown and green shirt, and then white tree, and then like Acacia's Grace on it. Acacia's Grace. Or like maybe embroidered sentence on like the lower stomach here that says, "We're all a part of the living forest." We're all a part of the living forest. And then like, I was gonna do embroidered wings, so it's like it's like a black t-shirt or something with full-on embroidered feathers that go down the side all the way down the back, not down the back, but down the shoulder, the back of the shoulders. It's like it ends at like the midsection of your back, feathers. But I don't want to. I think it's too sacred. I wouldn't want to. Like feathers are supposed to be special, so I wouldn't do it. Kendrick put a diamond encrusted feather on his snapback because in indigenous culture, because Kendrick isn't black, native, and Irish as well, but he's like a different shuffled version of the genetics, I guess. He put that because he defeated Drake, and the feather's supposed to symbolize a major achievement. So he didn't wear the feather until after he defeated Drake. Like when I stood up against Morristown PD and then a red-tailed hawk flew and dropped a feather in front of me. So I had that feather, and then the cops got mad that I posted a video, and they were going to try to arrest me for having that feather because it was illegal. So they ripped open the tent again, and then they took only the feather. And I, thank God I wasn't there, or they would have charged me with like $1,000 fine for having that feather, because I don't have a tribal card because I didn't know my grandfather. And I haven't gone to any tribe yet to do the blood quantum. And I don't really want to know, to be honest. I'd rather just talk about the story with like not knowing I was native, and then I would just feed seagulls every day, and I thought it would be really funny on the 4th of July because I was already homeless walking around, that because there was just an excessive amount of feathers that day because I fed like 200 seagulls in front of everybody. I just threw out all my cereal for them, and then they were swarming me like a tornado. I thought it would be really funny to just pick up all the feathers and put them in my hair and then walk around, and then everybody sitting at the waterfront. So then I walked over with all the feathers in my hair, and I put the cereal and I spread it out through the water there for the fish. And then when everyone looked, I went, "It's tradition, I'm native." And all the liberal Burlington girls were like, "Oh my God." And then out in the woods, where I would have dreams that the trees have hands, and the hands are coming down and forcing a war bonnet onto my head, and it hurts. And then I thought they were like cavemen, but they all had reddish hair, were walking up through darkness, and they were like floating over to me, and I could see them, and they were like, just, I didn't know what I thought. I didn't know if they were aliens. I didn't know what it is. Now that I'm like thought about it a lot, I'm like, that's probably what like Celts and barbarians looked like back in the day. Those are probably my ancestors. And while the trees were forcing the war bonnet on my head, they were putting blue spirals on my arm, and then it would light up blue. And I didn't know what that was. And then later I found out that's blue woad, and that's what the Celts would put for spiritual protection and tribal status 2,000 years ago when they were going up against Rome, when Brennus and his army would burn supply lines, starve cities, stage ambushes on small towns. When the army would leave to go defend their settlement, they snuck in over the walls, killed a bunch of people, and then they didn't take anything. They just pissed off the wall for shits and giggles, and then they went back out and were just nomadic, and then it most likely went over into France, Gallic territory, and then up into Ireland. But after the Romans took their land, they did one last big fuck you before they left, to show that, yeah, we could do it if we wanted to, but we're out. And Brennus had an eagle feather crown on. He had a crown that had feathers with an eagle crest that's in a museum somewhere. And then so that's where the name Brennan comes from, or Brenna comes from Brennus, who was a Celtic war chief who supposedly is an ancestor to Brian Boru, but you can't prove that. We don't have bones. It's just folklore saying that my ancestor Brian Boru is also Brennus's ancestor. Like, I don't know, 40 or 50 people ago, 40 or 50 granddads ago, supposedly my ancestors sacked Rome. And then 30 to 40 people ago, Brian Boru was the last High King of Ireland, and he left home at 14 when Vikings killed his family, and then he traveled around and amassed an army, eventually got his land back, and in his late mid-30s, he became a nobleman again after being homeless for 15 years, and then devoted his whole life to just kicking the Vikings out, making his army bigger, and then eventually they did one sweep where they just started at the top and then went all the way down Ireland and then kicked him out in Dublin. And then Brian Boru was my dad's age, 70, and then he was resting because he, as a 70-year-old man, he was fighting still, And then he was resting in his tent. A Viking that was injured ran, fell into the tent, caught Brian by surprise, and then killed him. So he died in the final battle. And I don't have any way to prove that's true. That's just what the history is saying. That's the story. I don't know if it's real or not, but that's the story, is that he left home the same age I left home for basically the same reason, that colonizers that were taking advantage of Irish people weren't happy with his family's status and had to destroy it. And I had 40 cabins in a 4-story barn, and they burned it down, and then they like fake traffic stop, lied about him using his blinker, not using his blinker, and he did. And then they pulled the gun, and then most likely gave him a brain injury. And he couldn't, my dad hasn't really functioned since. He still got a job as a valet. I think I worked with him at a job site once. But after that, he like really bottles things up and then explodes. I'm talking like in the old folks community that my parents lived at, my dad was outside on the sidewalk like he was trying to storm a castle to get into my mom's apartment to take back the zebra skin rug that we have. And I was like, he could just call me. It's just he gets drunk and crashes his car. I don't trust him with a $15,000 zebra rug that we can't get another one ever. That's like the most valuable thing we own. It's just sitting in a closet, folded up. And I would let him have it, but I just don't trust it. Maybe I'll get land, or if I can get this land or something, and then he gets a shack. He gets his own cabin. I don't mind if he puts it in there, but I just don't trust that he's not going to self-sabotage. Because he blows up and seems like a demon hijacks, and then he gets violent. And my whole family does that, where they just seem to get hijacked by something dark, and then they work to self-sabotage. So, I like Armor of God too. Armor of God's the only thing that I came up with. Kingdom Clothes is a play on Kingdom Cuts, the landscaping company that Demon Hunter has. And then out here, there's a lot of KC stuff, Kingdom whatever. So I thought having a branch of Kingdom Cuts up here doing landscaping would be pretty cool. And then Kingdom Clothes, KC. And then Salvation is just a song I wrote 3 years ago when I was in this town. The nights were cold, days were broken and full of pain. I was staring at the lake with no emotion on my face. Then I looked up and I prayed, and I flew out of the cage. I thought that I was dead and gone. It turns out I was brave. This is the type of feeling when you look into the mirror and you say, I'm going to get it somehow or some way. I'm sick and tired of the way that we've been living. I'm going to really be the difference. And you go outside and everyone's insane. I'm the one to go to, and you take the first step away in faith, and you want to show the world a better way. I was born a saint. This feels like all of the love I gave when I fought my way to heaven with my people through depression in the trenches with a smile on our face. So from now until the end of days, you can find me in and out of every lane, swerving past eternal damnation on my way to salvation. This is what I fantasized when I was brain damaged and then left relation, with nothing to my name but stains on my reputation, ostracized and left to fight alone against the Matrix. I would die before I ate off of your plate. Just know I tried to kill myself before I ever asked you for a favor. This is more than just a race. This is a story that our kids will say when we're gone beyond the grave, exalted and transmitting down from space. So from now until the end of days, I am something ancient. Only came to break my people from their chains, tell jokes, and get laid, and make my name last as long as my last name. If you're around alone, figure it out and pour one out for me. Let it go if you don't. I'll see you around. I'll see you around. Anywhere you go, I'm not your enemy. After all I've been through, I'll see you around. This goes out to Connor B, Tyler, Ryan, Chloe, Zoe, R.I.P. to Stephen, Ethan, Phoenix, Caleb, Jaden, Jonah, Johnny, Mikey, Jackson, Ricky, Kelly, Aaron, Sharon, April, Garrett, Vicky, Gary, Nate, and Zay. I told you I would find a way to ease the pain. I went around the country and I learned how to handle weight. I promise I'm going to come back and take you out the grave and then put you back safe. It's about what's above the rain, underneath the pain. Sometimes you need the right frame to put you back in place. You got too much on your plate. I can see it on your face. Do you believe in fate? A soul in a state of grace laughs at demons in their face. This one's for the soldiers that are gone without a trace. If you love the world, but it only loves to hate, be not afraid. You can come and find me in salvation. And then I wrote that on the other side of this lake. And then 3 years later, I wind up back here and I'm given the property. And then I'm driving up the road for the first time. And then I'm like, what should I name, if I could have this place, what should I name it? And then I see in bright letters in my mind the same thing I saw over there when I was looking over here at the cross, the lake that I was looking over with no emotion on my face. Then I looked up and I prayed. I was looking at this property. And then a voice in my head said, salvation. Whether it's my own mind or God or whatever, or an angel. Christians say that when they're in prayer at night in the dark, they see me spiritually and they see that I'm under extremely heavy attack. And they see me when I'm here fighting off everything. They say that this one girl that says that she says spiritually at night she was shown me for like 3 weeks, where every night she would see like a thing open in her mind and she would see me as like a warrior and I'm fighting off these monsters that are trying to get in and get in me. And I'm like, I'm having to fight them off. So that's why she invited me up here. It's because she was seeing me every night fighting back against this darkness. And then the day that she invited me up here happened to be the day I got out of the hospital for a suicide attempt. I was only in for a day because I told them, please don't send me to the retreat. So they brought me back because they were going to take my car. When I got back, they had taken my car. Then I found out Kendra had towed it. Then I'm walking to get the car. I meet the Christian woman. I had stayed the night in the snow. It is what it is, man. Anywhere you go, it all leads you home where I. After all I've been through, I'll see you around. Deep in the night, the winds blow cold, and in a heartbeat the fear takes hold. Do-do-do-do-do. Deep in the storm, there's a place that's soft and still, where the road waits to be taken, if you only will. The voices inside you that lead you so astray, believe in what you dream, or turn away. Don't turn. It's layered over the a lot of voices I pitched to sound like bad, zombie, evil, whatever, and then it fades out. And then the Celtic carynx, what the Celts would use when they would go to war, which is, it looks like a zebra or a boar head, and then it goes. That's the sample for the beat. I've been on the front lines for a minute, psychologically killing these bitches. All of my women invested in fitness. I run a business investing in the holy mission and building a kingdom off the grid with no emissions. From Maine out to Oahu, I've been told y'all I could go the distance, but I don't give a fuck about the who's who. All your pussies mad just because she won't choose you. I'm on Mount Olympus shooting lightning like I'm Zeus. I'm the problem and the proof. I tell your pastor what to do. I just designed a stage for crickets, chickens, kale and spinach, solar, and a coup. I got soldiers waiting for the signal. Here to Honolulu, I'm a big body buttonheads with moose. And don't get it misconstrued, I know exactly what the truth is. I'm just tiptoeing through these truths till I'm tall enough to lift up all the youth. And if I fail, we might just build a zoo. And I'm not happy with the verse. It was just a placeholder till I get it fully down. But it's just really, it's a drill beat with tribal Celtic drums and taikos layered in. So it sounds like what you'd hear if an army of different cultures were approaching the battlefield. I'm really happy with it. And then the beat switches and it gets to like nighttime and everything pitches up. So it sounds like how it feels when I hear the stars at night. And then I think I sampled the Celtic Carrings to sound more like a wind instrument. And then it's just a really beautiful outro. And then there's Kill Count, which is just like a regular kind of, it's just a whatever beat. Just something that, like the music video would be of me in the back of the truck. And that was back when I lived with the gang members, so I would have them in the truck. Or I would be on a horse going through my hometown with an AR on my back. And it goes, the world's gone crazy. My solution, man, Samusa, when I pull up with the troops, you better move before we get to shooting. This Mac 11's an exclusive. I might just introduce it to you and anyone is stupid. I like Thunder. I don't give a fuck about, and this is from Storm. I don't give a fuck about you. All the macaroni art you make to prove to daddy you're not stupid. And then there's a verse I can't remember because I wrote it in 2021 and then my phone broke. I can't and it might be on my computer, my broken computer if I can fix it. But there's like 16 bars and then it goes, now I'm chilling with my feet up on a delta on a one-way trip to heaven. Because it's a song I'm featured on. So I'm the last verse. And it's with the friends that left me to die. Back when I was 14. I ripped their beat, I remade it way better, cinematic, music video, and my verse is a lot better than theirs. So I'm chilling with my feet up on a delta on a one-way trip to heaven. Check my texts, my brothers. Check my messages, my brothers struggle in my settlements. So I fell back just to free all of my fellas, screaming, stuck under the cellar. Fuck the lies that you've been telling. It sounds like you're falling into a boom. Like when a Valkyrie comes down from the heavens and lands. So then I fell back just to free all of my fellas, streaming, stuck under the cellar. Fuck the lies that you've been telling and the pills that you've been selling. You ain't real, it's in your spelling. Your eyes tell me you're a hiding yellow belly and you're smelly. My whole flock is full of felons, and we're used to gutting pedos, so don't come inside my ghetto that I turned into a castle. Fire erupts, voices layered on with a harmonizer. I will kill you if I have to. I'm insane from years of battle. It turned me into an asshole. I was buried under trauma. Then I crawled through all the callous, grabbed my hammer off the throne, tossed the chalice, ran and dove right off the balcony, and rode off on a dragon towards the ashes. My dad's blood is full of legend, and my mother's schizophrenic. Both are addicts. I was raised alone inside the madness. I could brand you just like cattle, burn and eat you like the Aztecs. Tear your heart out, wear it around my neck to keep at bay the sadness. And then a big swoosh because it's called Thunder. The chorus is, I hear the thunder, thunder and rain. With like really kind of eerie Celtic instruments that Alex made that I sort of pitched a little bit to make it sound a bit creepier, and then I added in some vocal choir to make it feel more like, and then thunder sound effect to make it seem like the thunderstorm is approaching. And then as my verse gets in, it gets louder and louder until the wind swooshes and the whole thing transposes up and resamples itself into being sounding like the storm. And then the drums come in darker and heavier, like boom, 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 boom. Boy, I'm like thunder, wait for the roar. Fades out for a second. Voice layer harmony comes in with the fiery exciter. There's nowhere to hide. I'm the king of the north. My whole team is ready for war. You know that we're special and came back to settle the score. We drew up our fiery swords and we're ready to come gun down all of you dorks. And that's layered over a drum fill. We're ready to come gun down all of you dorks. You can never get my glory. I'm adorned and a doormat. You're a doormat and annoying. Get the fuck out my flat foyer. I just raw dogged my 5th bitch this morning like a Mormon. I got an assortment of shorties whose little brothers adore me. Go ask the Lord who you think's more important before I rip you over my shoulder and straight to the floor and keep ripping and ripping and ripping and ripping and ripping up guts, blood, and gore. Torn vocal cords, scream to the Lord, can't cry no more. An unsatisfying end to your story. I never get it right. I think it's ripping and ripping and ripping up guts, blood, and gore, scream to the Lord, torn vocal cords, can't cry no more, and unsatisfying end to your story. I will never be ignored. I will never be ignored. I will never be ignored. And the music video is that they're on a ship. Because his verse is like really, it's supposed to feel like waving, the way he has it. I can't remember his verse off the top of my head. I remember that there's a breakdown where he goes, don't tell the talent, my whole team is flowering. But it sounds mythic. It's supposed to be like, it like plays like it's like they're on a sea shanty, sort of like an Irish, like mutinied the pirate boat, and they're like the thunders, the storm coming in, and the waves, and the way he does the guitar has a sway to it. He was really inspired by like Irish, the sea aspect of the Irish. Like he writes a lot of, like his best song is called Shipwreck, I think, and it's just a, you know, layered harmony Irish thing. So that's why the storm comes in, and the music video is him on the boat when the storm hits, and there's an angry storm god that's making the beat, making it go hard when he does it. And I really know how to get into it to make it, you know, I take it to the next level where it feels more like you're actually in there, in the storm. So then when I go in, that's why I was chilling on my feet up on the Delta on a one-way trip to heaven. I'm out, and the music video is me literally on the plane of a Delta going up, and then I jump out of the plane into the storm, and I'm just in the castle, and I didn't know that what I drew and what I was going to animate happened to be the exact dimensions and where the door and the windows were. It's exact, and the way that I put the throne was exactly the way that Vivek's cabin looked when I eventually put that red throne in there. Like I literally, the doorway that goes out to the hillside in Vivek's cabin, I made a music video 3 years prior where I leave out that door, and then you see me, I grab the hammer off the throne, I grab a crown and the hammer, put the crown back on, I have this big war hammer, and then you see me take one last sip of it, grab my hammer off the throne, toss the chalice, and then ran and dove right off the balcony, and then you don't see me for a second, I'm gone, and then rode off on a dragon towards the ashes. You see the dragon take off with me on the back, and in the music video I had long hair, but I had short hair at the time because I had this pen that I was given on O'Brien Road in 2022. I went to go get my dad I went to an antique store on O'Brien Road, which was down the road from the motel my dad was staying at. There was just an antique sale, and they were giving away this boat, and the boat was what I based the music video off of on O'Brien Road. And then there was this pen, and the pen was a Knights Templar, but he had long hair, and his armor had a white thing with the red cross on it. And now years later, I'm about to make the song and animate the music video, and I'm accidentally designing the clothes that the guy that looked like me with the long hair, he looked just like me. Hopefully I can find the video somewhere. If I can get back into the old group chat. I can show you, it literally looks like me now. Except there's a beard. But like the way the face looks, I didn't look like this 4 years ago. But now I look like it. And he's wearing the merch I'm making with an armor around it. And yeah, then it's just me on the dragon, approaching the war zone. My dad's blood is full of legend. My mother's schizophrenic. Both are addicts. I was raised alone inside the madness. I could brand you just like cattle, burn and eat you like the Aztecs. And then it's a zoom in to the chest where there's a glowing metal heart. Tear your heart out, wear it around my neck to keep at bay the sadness. And then I dive off the dragon as the transitions and for the pause right before the drop. And it's born like thunder, wait for the roar. There's nowhere to hide in the king in the north. And then it's just this big elemental animated battle between me and this storm god. And then at the end of it, when I've defeated the storm god and then my friends that are on the boat that left me to die and now they're off on their own, I'm back and I'm on like this rock in the middle of the water. And it's just a scene of me like torn to shreds after going up against this thing. And I had crazy eyes, and then you hear, I will never be ignored, I will never be ignored, as the boat slowly fades by, and then it pans to their view looking at me over there, and then pans up to my face like crazy eye, I will never be ignored. And then it goes to Fall, which is, Alex made it, his chorus is, death hours come to life, just to get trapped in the vines, I took my breath. Way the flame dances. My eyes abruptly. No, wait. Oh, God. I can't remember the verse. I remember his storm verse. I see the storm come. I light a candle, lock my doors. I see the storm come. It comes for me. I see the storm come. Sheltered in place, I drink alone. I see the storm come, comes for me. My eyes abruptly open in the hopes I see your face. Landing in my bed after I've fallen from your grace. There's monsters in the past. The walls are filled with shadows I've sustained. I can't remember it. My eyes abruptly open in the hopes I see your face. Landing in my bed after I've fallen in your grace. There's monsters in the depths, the world's collapsing in the pace. The perfect path to lead me past all of this sadness I've sustained. A shadow cast from outer space and contorts and wraps around my frame, and whispers in my ear and tells me secrets from beyond the grave. Something, something, something. Grip my teeth and walk away. I just saw a fucking alien. Grip my teeth and walk away. I can't remember it. I saw an angel and was like, you failed. You forgot. It was trying to show me, but I can't get it right now. Yeah, I'm just seeing an alien. I don't know what to tell you. I'm seeing an alien. It's like it shimmers out, and I see like a figure, and then it's gone. It's just like it always hides right behind a wall somewhere. I don't know why, but I see him. Disclosure day's out. White House is about to release that aliens are real. They already have. They're going on podcasts and talking about it. The government's going on podcasts and talking about aliens. It's going to be revealed that there's just been aliens hanging out around us, and I see them sometimes. I don't know what it is. I don't claim to know what it is. But it was trying to help me remember the verse. Okay, let me try to... Symphonies still haunt this place, music in these ancient walls, songs from higher powers that refuse to come and save us all. My phone is ringing off of the hook. I'm way too drained to take your call. I don't need to hear from God. The cosmic hum can say it all. I hear the storm come, sheltered in place, I drink alone. I see the storm come, it comes for me. I knew something big was coming. I could feel it in my bones. I told my soldier to stay woke and stay close. I kept my eyes up to the sky. I kept my eyes dialed to the sky, one hand clutching the pole. It gets harder every day to break the mold. The only time I feel safe is in those brief moments when my eyes open, then something comes and tries to take control. Every night is a fight with things that try to slip inside. I won't allow it. Every day it's getting more and more apparent that we're living in that movie about the chum bucket. Something sinister is always up to something. Man, I'm only here to make sure all my brothers hold on to each other. I got a gun up in my clovey should the time come.
All my family will feel the love. I'm getting vivid visions. I'm seeing spirits of angels telling me to fight my demons. Crow. Shit is getting weird. Let me make it clear. Once I kill my fear, I'm gonna find a way for all of us to make it out of here. And then it drops into a drill beat with like choir, heavenly, a guitar riff that drives it forward. Now my vision's clear, I'm switching up the gears. I never felt the same sitting around all my peers. Hearing voices in my ear, I tried to tell them couldn't hear. Found my soul and kept it sealed. I'm just trying to keep it real, give them something they can feel. Hacking robots in the field, killing COVID, skipping meals, shooting lasers for the tears. Treading water, Navy SEAL, cause Mac taught me staying still will get us killed. Just wait until I break out my restraints again. I'm flying straight up to the heavens, then I'm coming back, swinging for my friends. They used to call me crazy, now they stuck under a blanket sending prayers. While I'm out here, screaming at the storm until it ends. Boom, boom, boom. Thunder, lightning, boom, boom, boom. I see the storm come, boom, boom, boom. I light a candle at my doors. I see the storm come. Thundercloud rumbling in. It comes for me. I see the storm come. I light a candle, lock my doors. I see the storm come. It's hard getting. After fucking watching Robbie for days, I can see you guys watching and the energy fucking comes through. When he fucking. I did the fucking plane motion and I saw his face. You guys are like techno pagans out here, man. What else is on the storm, man? I can't remember Alex's verse on Thunder. I know Auschwitz. Do I know Auschwitz? You might say that we're not very gangster. This is Alex's verse. You might say that we're not very gangster, but in fact, we're quite gangster often. I don't fruit boot, I got Heelys, I'm a modern man. Choo-choo motherfucker running trains up on your mom again. All the goopers, hoopty blah, now the sheets are stained. My woman looking good in my Adventure Time PJs. It's not quite my birthday, but I'm about to eat cake. Girl, get low like a spout of depression and drop it to your floor like you're losing your suspension. Damn. I can't remember that part, but then it's, she's addicted to the way my fanny pack bounces. It's all full of gas, like the showers at Auschwitz. And he's got like a kind of high-pitched, kind of teasing tone. And I'm like, it is what it is. It's his verse. So then I flipped the whole thing on its head, added rain. Instead of it just being like just drums and then like a conga drum going ah with the sample, I flipped the whole thing so I flipped a wind chime sample so it sounds like a pluck. And then I added a drum kind of like 808s, kind of like Sicko Mode over my custom. I do kicks really differently than people. I like it a lot though. And then I had the rain sound like I would make the hi-hat sound like rain, because this was back in 2022 when everybody did the, so I just flipped it to sound like to like the rain when you go through it, so it flows better. Then my verse is, higher powers threw me in the trenches. I had to learn to shoot through all the ranks. So you think you know pain? Eat a fucking Frank. I was riding through my kingdom in a tank. Then I got stuck out by the gutter where it stank. But I always had women waiting for the wank. Shout out my ex's name. Bitch, I'm swerving holding sermons in the streets. And that's layered, bitch. Swerving has a car. Bitch, I'm swerving holding sermons. Layered at the same time. Bitch, I'm swerving holding sermons in the streets. And then gunshots and... Get the fuck up out my face before I punt you where you planted both your feet. You're all pussy and you're weak. I don't give a fuck about police. All my ops are salty, sat around and stuck inside a screen. I fucked their bitch in my brother's Kia, then left her by Felice. My whole life is a movie. I hope I make it to the sequel. All these groupies got left inside the shed behind Home Depot like we're playing hide and seek. My hometown's gone, bitch. They got fed to the streets. I got fed up with these bitches in New England giving trees, so now we just keep them around on a leash. And then when I would perform this at parks, I'd go up to the guy listening and if my dog could learn respect, I might just let him hit him. Sheesh. When you the dawn, there ain't nothing out your reach. This song could have a couple features, but I'd have to hit delete. If you can't come with the heat, then you can't be on my beats. I can tell you Reek and pay to look at feet. Petty problems never matter much to me. I'm a heavy hitter and my blood is full of kings. I'm a masterpiece stuck around these memes. But if you fuck with me, you might just end up on TV. Like that icon Mr. Bean or that bitch that fell and screamed. But either way, you gotta pay a fee. Ain't nothing ever free. Me and my whole team got BDE. Come feel the energy I took on. I killed my BPD and took on BPD, and now a dozen cops cry themselves to sleep. I was born with extra DMT. I'm probably a deity. That's probably why the GOV tries so hard to intervene. I'm gassed up like my great-great-grandmother. Around these clones of Adam Sandler. If you need me, I'll be out in public, hunting and stunning on demonic, robotic, COVID, symbiotic, MK Ultra handlers. With supersonic, psionic, socio-psychopathic, antifungal, cancer scramblers. I was born with the answers. And I just went around New England reinvigorating all my reincarnated Celtic commanders. You're all a bunch of stands and I can't stand you, bruh. I wish you all the best of luck. Lead me through the darkness, straight through to the garden. Don't leave me broken hearted. Hold on to me, my love. If I fall before we make it, lead my children to greatness. Teach them how I saved them. Remember me, my love. And I flipped the sample back, and then it's layered with, I think, 5 different girls I recorded under it for the harmonies, and then orchestra hits. Because when I used to play piano when I was 8, before my dad fucking smashed it over his leg, I would make my songs out of the orchestra hits. That's how I would write the riffs. I love the whole choir together in that one hit in the note. So it's sounds like Mission Impossible, but out of orchestra hits, and it's layered with the rain and this big choir that's mixed to sound like it's sort of like condensed right here and form it pitched under a little bit, and then I sit in there with the shining light with the exciter and then the 5-girl harmony. It's really cool. I'm really happy with it. And then at the end of it, it's right before the last chorus, with the drum fill, the 808s go out, and then it's "You're only here because you're the best of the best." Lead me through the darkness, straight through to the garden. Don't leave me broken hearted. Hold on to me, my love. If I fall before we make it, lead my children to greatness. Teach them how I save them. Remember me. And then the storm opens up. The choir all formant shifts up to the heavens choir. Remember me, my love. And because Alex's verse was supposed to be like, I don't fruit boot, I got Heelys, I'm a modern man. Choo-choo motherfucker running trains upon your mom again. It's like nerdy. Because the thing he starts it off with, you might think we're not very gangster, but in fact we're quite gangster often. It's supposed to be cringe, but he's a good rapper. She's addicted to the way my fanny pack bounce. All right, woman looking good in my Adventure Time PJs. It's not quite my birthday, but I'm about to eat cake. Girl get low like a spout of depression, then drop it to the floor like you're losing your suspension. Damn. I can't remember that part right there. Because his verse had Adventure Time at the end of it, because it's supposed to be nerdy, but then I threw in the around these clones of Adam Sandler, and I'm gassed up like my great-great-grandmother. I can tell Eureka Pay to look at feet, like I threw in those lines there. At the end, it's a thing from Adventure Time that fades out, where Finn goes, "I'm a huge butt guy," and then Jake laughing, and then the storm fades out. Because they made it kind of supposed to be cringe, but show off that you're actually good. So my verses are like poetic and intellectual and stuff, and everyone's like, only nerdy people are going to listen to your music. I'm like, it's because those are features on an album called Aggressive Preachers Club. Like, they're nerds. And they kind of left, they were my friend group before my dad tried to kill me, and I had to fight him off, and he had a heart attack, and I walked a mile through negative degrees in socks and pajama bottoms, and then I was taken and locked in a room in DCF for 8 months, and they only fed me bread. And I had to help the crying kids that had a lot of issues. They fucking tortured us, and it was all a money scheme because they get $3,000 a day per kid, and there were 60 kids, so they'd pack us in like sardines in a room. This like my car has more room in it, and they put fucking 2 kids in there on a tiny ass bunk. And then nobody even messaged me. Like I was gone for years, and nobody even reached out to me. But then when I got older, and I got certified audio engineering, they knew I had a studio, and they wanted into the studio. So then they reached back out to me. Like they never messaged me. And then my Alex's girlfriend dumped him, and then he needed a place to stay because he was homeless now. So then he reaches out to me and he's like, "Can I sleep on your couch? Hopefully you know because I messaged you that I see you as family." So I said, "You're always welcome here, man." And then he never showed up, and then never messaged me back because somebody else answered him. And I'm like, man, I used to look up to you so much. Like you're the closest thing to an older brother I ever had. In case you got bars. Thanks, man. I could tell you guys were watching because when I was rapping, I suddenly saw a vision of Robbie Taggart doing the plane motion, and then accidentally I did the plane motion. And I was like, fuck, they're watching. I knew the Robbie people were here because the techno-pagan bullshit came through the camera. Pull up to the party and they made away. I guess it's what I'm made for. I went out and took everything you sat around and prayed for. I broke about the box and then I jumped right off the stage, bruh. All you lames are walking on the avenues we paved. I could make $100K on OnlyFans any day. I got shooters from Miami. They'll be here when we escape. When my family goes insane, I pull up and I set them straight. The only way that you could chill with us is if you start to train. You a lame and you ain't about shit. Quit playing. I work hard every day just so I can maintain. They slowed down and lost their brain when and drove themselves insane. Now they're walking wearing copies of my face. Half these towns are bitter because my dick is bigger. I got their women in my whip and none of us is quitters. If I find out that you hit her, you might end up just like, redacted. And then symphony choir with my old vocal coach, which was Bob Dylan's vocal coach and background singer. She's in there too. And it's just this huge crescendo. Threw him in a lake somewhere out of state. He forgot his name, asked to wear his chain. I was born insane. I'm used to these restraints. They tried to stop the wave. I had to tell them it's too late. I got about 15,000 kids I trained telling me that I'm the man. I'm the motherfucking man. I'm the man. I'm the motherfucking man. I'm the man. I'm the motherfucking man. I'm the man. And the whole beat is a flipped sample of the chorus that my dead little brother who froze to death last year, he had a song called The Man where he goes, "You the man. You the motherfucking man. You the man. You the motherfucking..." So without knowing it, I had already flipped it and made my favorite beat. I also have my other favorite song is One Day. And the sample is, it's a choir, it's a gospel choir. Better is a one day in your courts. Better is a one day in your house. Better is a one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Better is a... And then it's a boom bap beat, but it's not hip hop. It's just boom bap drums. And it's just like this nice ride, cymbal ride in, and it just feels golden and like clouds. Yeah, this is the greatest story I ever wrote. Young kid sick of doing what he's told, so he broke about the mold, took control, fucked around and found his soul. Buried in a hole, he fought for hope, opened up the sky and found gold, traumatized. He saw all his homies overdose. Now he's sitting on the throne all alone, stays woke and does the most. Everybody went from way to go to way to go. He's the GOAT. He's the one that God chose. And ain't no one could tell him no, so he hit the road. Blah, 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 but he never sold his soul, not even close. I don't think, Jay Young, I don't think you've been around. I know Bender's an OG Casey fan. He says a lot of my jokes. I've sat in the fucking, sometimes I'll go, when I'm talking about my stories, I'll go from the hit show. He says, he made one of my jokes. He went from the hit show Recess. And I was like, stop crashing out on me, you middle schooler. Admit that you were a Casey fan and you got mad that I muted you. I'm not mad at it. Literally, when I comment in whatever that is, and I go, I don't care. This is my tone. I don't care. I don't care. There's a lot of mosquitoes. How'd the vote go? Divine Apparel. That's pretty cool. It just seems like something Grok would make, though. I like Armor of God. Tomorrow, we go spend the last of my money on a gas can and non-ethanol gas for the lawnmower. We come back and we mow the shit out this shit. We mow the shit out this. Then we plant my zinnia seeds across. Then we go in and mow the rest of that. Then we bring the rocks and we layer the rocks across rock wall status. Then we move all the pavers out, layer the pavers across here. We bring all these pavers and either layer it here or I'll layer it in there. Then I have to fucking figure out what I'm going to do with this big overhang to make it look decent. I'm thinking I have to put this arbor and build supports, probably, and then use the new 2x4 to layer on top of it so you can't see it. And then have one there. Maybe I'll have to pick up more boards to have it go across the middle here. And then I'm going to be taking my deck and the gazebo and I'm going to be moving it into this section here under this tree so that I can put all the wood under the gazebo so it doesn't rot while I figure out building the rest of the deck. And I wanted it to be a patio section here with the pavers. I thought that would be really cool, but it seems like it's going to end up being, I'm going to buy another, for 50 bucks, somebody's giving away a 12 by 20 deck that's much more intact than these boards. So I'm most likely going to get the 12 by 20 deck and I'm going to layer it over here. And then I'll have my gym set up. My gym will be right here. This will go over. I'm going to make it so the bones stay. And then if I want, I can try to move this back over there, layer it back up top. And then I'm going to have to probably get small nails and then nail it or just maybe screw it onto the frame on top. Like take boards of some kind. Like maybe these or maybe just the regular deck boards. And then border the top with the deck boards to screw in the Shelter Logic tarp so that it doesn't look like shit. And then it covers the whole thing so that no more snow. And it's going to have to be tight so that nothing can get in it, which is going to be tough. And then I'm going to have to duct tape over the holes that are in the tarp. And then with the overhang, I guess I'll make a bigger arbor or something. I don't know. Like I'll find lattice and make my own arbor, I guess. But eventually this will be something that I can roll back to here and then take just a stick and then bring it back out and layer it over the frame so that I can have it without. And then when it rains, I can have it over again. And then, so tomorrow I'm just going to be hauling everything. I'm going to be mowing this, hauling everything over to here so it looks a bit better. And then laundry. And it's just going to look like shit. It's going to look like shit. But it'll get better slowly. Let's go see if my other solar light's on. And now I'm hungry. The first is tomorrow. I think I'm just going to go hungry tonight. I don't want to spend any more cash. I want my EBT, man. My solar lights are working. They're not going to be happy if they show up and this is all here, but at least if I can conglomerate it into just one shit pile over there, so that when they drive up, they see nothing here, but it's mowed, and then eventually the flowers will grow along the side here. And then I mow all this again so it's not patchy. Then it will grow back out looking nice. So that's the plan. I don't know. Should I go? No, I just spent $60 on vapes. I shouldn't be spending any more money. I was gonna go get a $10 pizza at Domino's. Instead, I'm gonna leave all my garbage out in this big mess, and then I'm gonna work on it all tomorrow. Look at all my protein. Look at my hoard of protein bars. And then I got protein chips. The umbrella's fucking it up. Ah, fuck you. I have to move it. There we go. Fuck it. We're not trying to win any awards here. Now I'm in here, got this. I'm gonna spend $6 and go get dinner. And I have to get gas. So that's what I'm gonna do. Back in here. I don't know where I put my keys. I don't know where I don't know where I'm going, but do you got room for one more troubled soul? I'm coming home and I said I'll check in tomorrow if I don't wake up dead. This is the road to ruin, starting at the end. Say yeah, let's be alone together. We can stay young forever, screaming from the top of our lungs. Oh, no. Say yeah, let's be alone together. We can find my keys sometimes. Where the fuck did you go? My keys, did I put them here? Nope. Well, let's hope they're on my bed. They are in fact not on my bed, so are they in my pocket? A little bit of pocket key action? Nope. Well, I guess we're not going nowhere, huh? I don't know where I'm going, but do you got room for one more? Who put all this trash here, man? Every time I get rid of all the trash, you guys come back and leave more. Come on, bitch. Yeah, I'm not finding my keys tonight. No keys for me today. Know where I'm going, but you got room for one more. They materialize out of nowhere. Food time. Food time. Go get food. And maybe the lady will get back to me about the black lab mate to neglect. Oh. And I would want to let him run free. So he'd probably get eaten by a hawk. I'd have to learn to off-leash train him. I don't know where I'm going, but do you got room for one more troubled soul? I'm coming home, and I said I'll check in tomorrow. If I don't wake up dead, this is the road to ruin. And I'm gonna get some food I don't need. But to be fair, I didn't eat today. Just kidding, I actually spent fucking $15 on food this morning. I got 2 egg sandwiches. And then they said if I got 2 of the taquitos, they would throw in the buns for free because I was like, I want free bunned taquitos. So I bought them for $4. Just a casual giant fucking glowing cross on my property. Ain't that a... I know you're watching. I can feel you, Bender. Let's be alone together. I'm supposed go life path reading. Can you believe it? And Demon Hunter is just gone. Demon Hunter has disappeared from the internet. I'm not, and I'm just walking down the road, or I'm driving, I'm listening to tarot videos, and I'm listening to music. I would go live instead of that. I was like, I'm just sitting around anyway. I might as well. I left my wallet at home when I went out to get the vape earlier, and the incel twink at the gas station, or at the vape shop, was throwing kind of a hissy about me being there without my ID. And I said, I'm not buying anything, I just have bad eyes. Can you let me know if that $30 one is $25K before I head back, so I know whether to get this deal or the next place that I'm going? And then he fucking freaked out and then walked into the other room. And I know the girl by name. I hung out with the manager the other day off work, or yesterday, whatever it was. I met up with her. He's not gonna call her and be like, there's a guy here. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Are you guys tired of Robbie yet? Wake up. It's not real.
Disclosure Day at the KC station. Bear made Nikki and Ian. I commented on Robbie's live stream and Daniel. And then who was commenting in Bender's chat? Danielle. And then I joined Omar's stream. And then 2 Casey's joined. And then Omar went, man, Matt looks kind of like Casey Jones, don't he? Omar knows the Casey lore. I have no idea who watches me. To tag GG33 and Will Survives and Matan Evan. I know Evan knows who I am because I commented about my dead son on Matan's YouTube. For some reason, I forget. And then it got 15,000 likes. It was the top comment on one of his top videos. So then I got like 1,000 subscribers from it. And then I was sitting out in the woods or in a field, and then as I hit 1,000 subscribers, something fell from the sky. So then I had to take a shit. So then I recorded myself going to take a shit and seeing what fell from the sky. And it was a note on a lantern that said, "You will be remembered forever." And I was like, wow, all my 1,000 subscribers remembered forever. And then I went and took a shit in the woods. And that's my most popular video, I think, to this day. My most popular videos are of me shitting out in the woods. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I love shitting out in the woods. Don't knock it till you try it, man. It's pretty fun. It only works, really, if you have nothing. If you're laying on the ground and then you walk over to the woods and then you hang off a tree and you shit and then you wipe and then you leave it there and then you just it almost feels like the forest sings a symphony of thank yous as it takes your pagan self